What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 170 or 279. Excuse me. I'm your host Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Chris Seeley. Oh, intro one more time. What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 279. I'm your host Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, what up?
Brian Manjoma.
What up?
All right, and we got two special guests with us. First up, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Richard Bailey Jr.
What's up, everybody?
And returning once again, Mr. Riku's son, one, the only one.
What's good, y'all? What's good?
All right, before anything, a little bit of a joke, then we're going to get a little serious, and then back to the fun. I kind of dig this new layout that's going on here with Discord. Man, shit's looking crisp, you know? Because I'm the only one on camera tonight, you have to just deal with me and my unshavenness. This is my quarantine beard, even though, as I point out, I have no reason to let this shit grow. I'm home most of the time anyway. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being a fucking lazy ass. But anyway, if you guys didn't notice from the intro, we have two missing people. Manny's missing and Adam's missing, and they're both missing for the same reason, which is unfortunate. What it is, if you guys checked out Manny's Twitter, unfortunately, his mother passed away this week. You know, so he can't be here. And Adam, who is his cousin, and you know, that's his like, I guess, aunt-in-law, also very upset about this. And it sucks for me and Chris and Chris's wife, Kristen, because we knew her too, Antoinette. So very upsetting news over what happened there. It sucks amidst all this, you know. It's like the world's already going to crap, and then this happens on top of it. For you who are curious, no, she didn't die of the COVID. It was something else. You know, she had some underlying issues or whatever, but very sad. And then because of all this stupidity that's going on, can't really have a proper, service for her. All this other stuff's going on. It's just making it. Funerals and deaths are never easy to begin with, but added on top of a pandemic, it's fucking crazy, man. So, our thoughts and prayers and all that good stuff goes out to Manny and his family, and he'll be back with us as soon as possible. But obviously, so we're gonna dedicate tonight's show to him because he wouldn't want us to stop, because of this. He would want us the show to go on. So that's what we're doing that. So we're dedicating the show to him tonight, man. So, and because of that, I'm very thankful for Riku and Richard for being on, helping us out tonight, man. So thank you to you guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime.
Yeah, man. And with that, we got to get on the road. So yeah, this week was kind of interesting. We have a lot of news to talk about tonight. The first one is, let's just get into it, man. PlayStation 5, they reviewed the controller. It is called the DualSense, doing away from, 25 years of the DualShock name. Did the DualShock name, no, that came when they redid the controller, right? Because it wasn't called the DualShock originally. It didn't have shock at all,
Yeah, the very first one was just the PlayStation controller, and then they had the one with the analogs, and then DualShock. This would technically be the second time where they tried to abandon DualShock name, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the PS3 had the 6-axis.
Mm-hmm. The 6-axis.
Was that the official name too? The 6-axis.
Yeah.
It was called the PlayStation.
It had no rumble.
3 6-axis controller. Yeah, remember they're like, but rumble's a thing out of past. So I wonder, man. Halfway through next gen, they're like, yeah, guess what, people? We got the DualShock 5. That's their like pro controller or some shit.
Yeah.
Man,
yo, by the way, I'm pretty sure people are still gonna call this shit the DualShock 5.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. I don't know why they would change the name. Like it's all legacy. Like why your PlayStation 3, they're not going to change that name. So DualShock is part of the legacy with the PlayStation. I thought it just it's a little bit more. What do you call that? More like part of tradition to keep it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously not going to change anything, but it would have been nice if they just kept it going.
Yeah, well, apparently they say that they changed the name of it because this controller, again, this is just according to them, has more of your senses in there. One of the big things is, and we're going to break down all the features, obviously. One of the big features is the haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, and control, all that. So basically, for this example they brought up, if you're playing a game like possibly The Last of Us 2 that has bows and arrows, like basically when you press L2 to aim and then R2 to fire or whatever, like L2, it may give you more resistance than like in another game. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll actually feel the resistance of like if you were actually pulling a bow together. That's kind of interesting. Or it could also be very annoying too, depending on how it's implemented. So, they're doing that. And something about the I don't know how they're going to implement this with the rumble or whatever, if they even talked about it, but that's what they said with the with the triggers, how they're going to be adaptive in that sense. So what do you guys think? Let's talk about that first. What do you think about the possibility of these adaptive triggers?
I think that. Oh, go ahead.
No, Carl. Riku, you go first, and then Carlos.
Oh, I was gonna say, everything, just like every fucking generation, all of the stuff that the DualSense has brought to the table in regards to features sound cool. They sound innovating. They sound, great. But at the end of the day, if these developers don't fucking utilize this shit, it's not gonna mean a goddamn thing. We saw the first 2 years of the PlayStation 4 with the DualShock 4 and its touchpad and the speakers and the light bar. A lot of games in those first 2 years was using it, but after that, man, nobody gave a flying fuck. And this is the problem when it comes to putting all these little cool ideas in your controller, because at the end of the day, we know the first party is going to do it because, Sony's going to be like, you motherfuckers better use this shit.
Yeah.
But they're going to use it. But all the third party guys, like the Rockstars and, the Activisions, you might see it like once in their single player game and their first iteration. And then, so it's just like, I hope developers actually utilize these features more. This go around. I can tell you what, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 most likely is going to be using that whatever bow thing that they're talking about.
Yeah. You know that for
and the next Tomb Raider. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just funny you mentioned that. Oh, by the way, Brett, what's going on, brother?
Yo, buddy.
How you doing? All right. So basically, the last two PlayStation systems, PS3, PS4, that we have a history of the controllers, quote unquote, being innovative, having innovative features that nobody uses a year afterwards. I remember with PS3, it was all about the gyros and shit like that. After a while, nobody gave a fuck. Remember Heavenly Sword?
After Lair?
Yeah, after Lair and Heavenly Sword and all that.
Warhawk used it really good too.
Yeah, and then
I mean, don't you got to give them a little bit of a pass though? Like maybe I'm just feeling extra generous tonight, but at a certain extent, like how do you nail innovation? If they knew it was going to catch, they do it, and something is going to catch. Like that's the big thing I want to point out. Like the dual thumbsticks fucking changed everything. The way that we use them changed everything. We've had additions and evolutions of controllers that have honestly changed the game. Pun intended.
Yes.
What's up?
Who started the dual analog thing? Was that Sony or was that someone else?
I think it was actually Nintendo.
Microsoft. Wait, the dual analog sticks? Was it Nintendo?
Yeah.
Nintendo did it in a retarded fashion.
I know Nintendo started analogs, but I don't think who started dual analogs?
Could be wrong.
But from PS1 days.
Was it from PS1?
Was it PS1?
Yeah,
well,
the second version of the PS1 controller had dual sticks.
Was that the first,
Was
the
that
original
before
version did not.
Was that before the GameCube? Because the GameCube had a retarded pre-version.
Yeah, obviously PS1. Yeah, obviously PS1 pre.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat will probably tell us. I'm tempted to say Xbox, but I don't think it is. The first Xbox.
No, Xbox was after the PS1 iteration.
Yeah.
Was it Dreamcast?
No. Dreamcast only had one.
Yeah.
No, that's right. Dreamcast.
Yeah, but before we start talking about all the overall the controller, Brett, what do you think about the possibility of the haptic triggers, or basically like if you're shooting a bow, like L2 may be harder to press down to simulate you knocking the bow back and shit like that?
Oh, you mean that thing that they've been talking about and promising for like 10 years that I no longer really give a fuck about?
Yes.
It's all right.
So much for optimistic, Brett.
Yeah, right?
That didn't last.
My bag of fucks is very small, even when it's full.
It's a small bag,
It can be overflowing and still run out very quickly. I mean, it's cool, but at this point, like, I'm just, maybe it's just me, but if you're like, hey, we're having cake tonight, and then you don't give me cake. Hey, we're having cake tonight. You don't give me cake. Hey, we're having cake tonight. A week of this. And then at the end of the week, you're like, hey, we're having cake tonight. But for real this time. I'm like, yeah, I don't even fucking care anymore. Like, I'm over it. I'm over it. Haptic feedback it doesn't seem new. It doesn't seem innovative. That's more of one of those, like, why the fuck haven't you done this? And to some extent, you kind of have, and you keep promising that you're doing it, And some games do that with like the triggers and whatnot, and some controllers do that. So basically what you're promising me is something that's kind of already there, maybe. I can't really tell because sometimes it seems utilized, sometimes it doesn't. It's on pro controllers, but not really used by a whole lot of games, and I'm supposed to already have it because you promised it before, but it's for real coming this time. Yeah, what else you got?
Yeah, we'll see about that. But also, the other example they gave is like if you're driving through like mud and shit, you'll actually feel that or whatever. You know.
No, see that the haptic feedback thing is kind of a cool feature, and it was a cool feature when the Steam controller launched with it. So, I mean, that's cool.
Well,
But
I mean,
but at least now it's going to be on a system, or a controller people are actually going to play on. You know.
Well, no, but the Xbox One had those haptic feedback on the triggers as well. They had it on when it initially launched with the Xbox One.
yeah, I mean, this isn't new technology at all.
Yeah, so if they don't have anything other than that feedback on the triggers, I don't know what makes it innovative when it comes to this controller, because the Switch also has that kind of stuff too with the Joy-Cons. Remember they were talking about the ice cubes and shit like that. So I don't know. I feel like they're repackaging something that pretty much every one of their other competitors does, and they're making it seem like they just invented the fucking wheel.
Yes, exactly.
Sounds like what Apple does.
They're doing what Apple do.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah,
Brian.
Here we go. We got the Apple haters coming out today.
We got the consensus.
Yep. It's what Apple
Yeah,
does, man.
I own like a MacBook Pro and an iPhone XR. So
Yeah.
don't-
By the way, I do have one of these ugly things in my home.
Oh, dude!
Dude, I have one too. I hate it, but
I
I
know.
have one too.
By the way, for you
But
guys who are listening, it's an iPad. Brett, you know what sucks is I'm flexing a little bit. I'm allowed to do that, right? Flexing a little bit.
Flex.
I got this, when I went to check out the new fucking 7 Deadly Sins video game. So they gave me this, and Brett, by the way, I'm throwing shit off topic, but whatever.
They gave you an iPad?
Yeah, dude, they wanted me to play the game, and they gave me the fucking iPad.
Jesus Christ!
But Brett, here's what pissed me off.
You don't know that action.
Yeah, become a game journalist, man. Even though, actually, you're better off doing.
Dude, you know what? I'm thinking about changing career. We're gonna have a talk after the show because my ass ain't working.
Oh man. But anyway, what happened is, okay, for years, right? People have been telling me, "Yo, comic books look so fucking good on iPads." I'm like, fuck that shit, man. I ain't getting no iPad. So I got this shit. I put some comics into it, and I got mad because they do look better. Like,
Dude, okay, same here. Look at this. Look at this, baby.
Better. Hold on.
Here's mine. Here's mine.
Oh shit.
I got the pencil with the ergo grip. I do
Podcat.
all of my tattoo sketching on what?
Podcat.
I do all my tattoo sketching on this bitch. Now,
Nice.
like when I got it, it was I have my Cintiq, and I still love my Cintiq more for coloring. Photoshop still beats the pants off Procreate for coloring. I don't care what anybody says. But a lot of my tattoos don't involve coloring. They involve lining and sketching, and man, Procreate kills it on that. And I had not seen anything that actually pulled a good line. And trust me, I'd use everything in every fucking program. And, they do your lines in Manga Studio and your colors in Photoshop and all this other stuff. Man, I popped on Procreate, and I fucking hate to say it, but they nailed the pencil tracking. Like, yeah, it feels a little weird to the novice, but like, man, I'm sure Manny would say the same thing after years of using digital. When you use paper or something that's supposed to simulate paper, you're like, what the fuck is going on here? You're used to there being a light disconnect. You're used to kind of gliding. It's like drawing on ice for your whole life. And then one day somebody gives you sandpaper. You're like, what the fuck is going on? So when I went to it, like, man, it was just like, yeah, I don't know. Oh God, that's like fucking buttery. All right, I'm in. $1,200. Yeah, let's fucking do this. It is a magic drawing tablet. I've wanted one ever since I was a kid.
You finally got it.
Everybody wants one.
And it's from Apple. That's the worst part.
I goddamn know it.
I know.
But they had Brian hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
I think that's what's been pissing me off. I mean, both of them. Everybody, well said. Yes, I do agree that they're repackaging it and that it's pissing me off. On the greater note, I feel like Sony is acting like Apple this generation. I finally able to put a hat on it. You guys nailed it for me. This is the thing that's been pissing me off. When I talk about old Sony, you're pulling some Apple type shit, and I don't fucking appreciate it, Sony.
Yeah. By the way, shout out to Ice joining us in the chat from the Warzone. If you guys remember Ice, but yeah, no, you're
Did
right.
they announce a price?
No.
Well, for the
I didn't think
DualSense?
so.
For the DualSense,
No, for the PS5.
No PS5. We just got the controller. That's all we got this week.
Oh, I know. I didn't know if anybody had heard anything on the price yet.
But we'll get to that in a bit. So anyway, the adaptive control, triggers and shit. We're gonna get that. And the other thing I want to talk about is the built-in microphone. So now,
Yes, we
basically
definitely
they're
talk
saying
about
that you don't need a headset anymore. You could just speak right into the microphone, and it'll be that.
Wait. Hold on.
Hold on.
Everybody trying to jump in.
Okay, I call second. You go.
All right. Tony mentioned you can hear your voice and one other thing.
God damn it, Carlos. Okay, can I add to that? Can I add to that? Bong cough, random Spanish, and baby crying.
Mira que maldito coño que lo está pasando ahí.
And baby crying.
And let's not forget the vibration of the controller.
Oh,
I didn't even think about
true.
that.
That
Yeah.
fucking you're gonna hear the senses. You can't just feel it. You're gonna hear that shit.
Hey, when they said
I just
DualSense,
want to take this moment to say.
Worst thing.
Can I just take this moment to make a quick?
wait, no. Hold on, no, Brian, hold that thought. Brett, finish your thought, and then Brian.
I just need to piggyback on. I think I just said PSA. Fucking turn your mic off before you cough on your bong. Nobody wants to hear you choking your own lungs up, all right? This is coming from a stoner. I have the courtesy to unplug my mic when I cough until I almost throw up on my shoes. You should do the same.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, there is a mute button now on the controller.
Use it.
Yeah.
Use it, for Christ's
it.
sake.
Yeah,
Use
Ice.
it.
Yeah, Ice. There you go. They did think about it to have a mute button. Anyway, Brian, go ahead, brother.
Oh yeah, you can get like shitty ass music in the background, which is even worse than everything that
Oh,
else
that's the
on
best.
this.
You know,
No.
crying
Then it's gonna be
children. Yeah,
God forbid Brian has to.
songs.
neglected girlfriends and shit. You know,
Oh,
Yo,
God.
God forbid Brian has to listen to-
PlayStation again?
Get off
that shit.
And then you hear, and then you hear,
Yeah,
I gotta go.
yeah. I gotta go, bro.
Oh my god.
No,
Okay,
no.
we are the most PlayStation players are the most antisocial group ever, and it's just being displayed right here. Like, oh man, I want to hear about your fucking girlfriend and your baby crying.
Yeah, right. Oh
To
man.
be fair, in the article that was talking about DualSense, they really tried to sell us on the fact that they apparently have figured out a way to noise cancel everything that we said out and only your voice. I'm like, bullshit. We'll see when it comes out. But they're like, man, we've really got it, guys. You gonna see? I'm like, okay. You know, read the article. They go. Whoever wrote it went really in depth into talking about noise canceling for this.
Yeah, we'll see
control.
about that, bro.
We will see about. We'll see
Yo,
about that.
Richard, that's your line right there, man. We'll see about that. You know.
We'll see about
Absolutely.
that.
Yo, Rich.
Absolutely.
Rich. You've been a little bit quiet. So, what do you think about the, the haptic feedback and the microphone?
Okay, I have some controversial opinions. So
Of course, you
let's
do.
brace everybody.
Excuse me.
Well, first and foremost, I have to say everything that I read in the article sounded great, but I don't see it in action. So until I actually see the controller being used in some type of video explanation of this stuff, I just feel like Sony is stalling until they have, whenever they're going to reveal the PS5 and all this other stuff, the actual system. I'm not talking about a presentation where we're talking about all this stuff and we're using graphs and charts. I'm talking about, I want to see the system and everything else, but everything sounds good, but yeah, I need to see it to believe it. One other thing I want to mention very quickly. We haven't touched on this yet. I have to say something about the design because when this reveal happened the other day, I actually was talking with our very good friend, Mr. Anthony Frazier.
All right.
And we was basically sharing our opinions on the design, and come to find out, looking on Twitter when this was revealed, it just so happens that Xbox One controller was also trending #1. I said, that's interesting. And then I looked at this controller and I said, okay, it's a white controller. I'm assuming that's how the PS5 is going to look.
Yeah, Rich is just skipping everything tonight, son. All my talking points, he's just hitting all of them. And go on, Rich.
My apologies. No.
No, man, it's great minds think alike, bro. That's all it is. Go ahead, keep going, man. We'll jump on all that shit. Yeah.
But I just was gonna say, I'm okay with the design, but I have to say, when I saw the fans that were releasing their concept versions of the controller, I thought to myself, man, I think Sony should be working with these fans. The black fan-made controller look a lot better, in my opinion.
Whoa!
I saw some of the other
ones. The controller's
ones
black, man. Chill.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No.
No, but Rich is right though. Look at the base controller. It looks like a woman's like bra and shit. You know? Tell me that don't look like a bra. You know?
Yeah. But I mean,
everyone.
I mean, I'm totally fine with the controller. It's okay, but I just wanted to say the fan react, because I saw fans. There was someone that made a black controller. Then they were making other versions of the controller. Like I saw a Spider-Man controller. I'm like, man, this stuff looks better than the white controller. Just my opinion, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you're right, Fonzie. It is more of a sports bra than an actual bra. You know, yeah, it's a sports bra. You know. For sure. Like I'm looking at this controller, like that thing's gonna go for a jog around the block a couple of times, you know. But yeah, so yeah, we'll talk about that. And this is I'm jumping the gun here. Okay, I think it's safe to assume that the PlayStation 5 is gonna look something like this, right? I was having a conversation. I had this conversation with Torrance and my friend Jeffrey, right? And I asked them both the same question: can you name me one system whose controller didn't match it visually? None of us could come up with an answer. If you look back at the history of video games, right? I'm talking about controls that come with the actual system, not third-party shit. Every controller looks like the console it comes with visually, right? It has the same color scheme. So given that, we have to assume that the PlayStation 5 is going to look like this, which would also be a deviation from history because usually PlayStation systems have a single color to them, right? The PlayStation 1 was gray, then the others were pretty much black, you know? And we're talking about the normal ones. I know Japan has like other variants and shit like that. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to have a PlayStation 5 that isn't a solid color for the first time in history. Riku, what's your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, so when the PlayStation 5 is shown, it's definitely going to be a heavy emphasis on black and white. I do think this is interesting and I think they probably got bored of doing black every single time. But I mean, there's only been one PlayStation that hasn't been black up to this point, and that was the very first one, which was gray. So yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. It's like I think it's cool that they're changing it up a bit. But I think you know how consoles are; they'll have alternate colors, and when they come out. So there's obviously going to be one that black and gray and.
Yo,
that.
Riku, this is what I got to do, right? This is what I want. I'm putting it out there right now. For the PlayStation 2, I had this controller. For the PlayStation 3, I had this controller. For the PlayStation 4, I've had this controller. For you guys who are listening, this is basically the blue translucent controller where you can actually see the insides and shit. So the PlayStation 2 had a version of this. PlayStation 3 did. PlayStation 4 did. I want a DualSense that looks like this. That'll be fucking nasty, bro. That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
So I definitely want that. And let's just be honest here. If you guys don't like the design of it, wait a little while. Someone's going to come up with something. But here's what I think they should do, right? And this is me giving Microsoft a little props right now. Right now, if you want... as a matter of fact, I got the visual aid guide. All right. So this is my Xbox One controller, right? This one I had custom made. I went to Microsoft's site, xbox.com or whatever it was, and I had, I picked out the plates and all this shit that I wanted. And I don't know if you guys can see it, probably can't, but my gamer tag is around there, Ramudeth. So it would be really cool if Sony did the same thing. Go to their website and you custom design your own controller. So you have all the colors where you want and shit. That would be awesome, because to me this controller screams custom controller. Custom plates, custom colors. So that would be fucking dope if they do that shit. That'd be smart as hell. So what do you guys think about that idea?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's something with their site because that's one thing that really hasn't been popping up, but they've really been putting a good amount of effort into is the PlayStation website, their official PlayStation website. There's a lot of stuff inside there that you can do that nobody gives a fuck about. And I do think what Tony said, having a at least a tab on their official PlayStation site that definitely allows you to customize the colors of your controller in different areas and ship it off to you. That definitely needs to be a thing. I definitely agree. That I'm down for that.
Yeah. By the way,
And all of
just quickly on the same topic, Ice says I think that's why they changed the physical design. Could be because it makes it easier to customize this shit. Go ahead, Rico.
Yeah. As far as that, I agree. I agree with that. What's funny though about this fucking controller that they didn't tell us about? They vaguely said it. Better battery life.
Yeah,
okay.
they just said better battery life. That's all they said.
Yeah, that's not saying much coming from the DualShock 4. I need motherfucking hours. I need numbers. That's what I need. This shit better not be under.
Ricky, I have some questions about that statement.
Uh-oh.
Which statement?
Better battery life. Like they
Yeah, go
say
ahead. Let's hear it.
They say better battery life, which is fair enough. That's true. Again, as you said, it doesn't. They don't say how much better. So it's a vague number.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you need to consider the fact that this controller has more stuff going on than the other one. So they may
like every other controller.
But then if they add more features that take up more battery life, it could in theory actually be less battery life overall. If you can turn off these features.
Yeah,
that's the thing that I've not seen anyone talk about.
Yeah, no, let's get into that right now because the thing that, and I could be wrong about this, but I think the thing that really sucked the life out of the battery was the fucking lights and shit. The lights in this one, they're still there. Don't get me wrong, they're still there, but not as big. So my hope is that, the battery life will last longer. But as Brian just said, and I didn't even think about this shit has more features going on. All the haptic
all
stuff.
those haptic motors,
Yeah.
Like, I was really annoyed because at first I'm like, cool, yes, finally, more battery life, great. And then I seen the Digital Foundry thing where they talked about all the cool things it does, and I'm like, that's not good for battery life. Like, unless we can turn them all off, which I hope we can, or something.
Yeah, at least give us that option,
we're kind of stuck with that as a thing. Like, hey, you didn't really make things better, you just made things slightly worse. Like, you add in all this extra stuff that, for the most part, we won't really care about, and after the first 2 years, developers won't care about, and then we're stuck with them, and the controller doesn't last as long, and hence, then what do we do?
Yeah, I guess we'll have to.
So question: do we know how much battery life the next Xbox controller will have?
As long as 2 AA batteries last you.
Mm-hmm.
And usually, as far as I heard, when with the AA batteries. The current Xbox One controller, they can last up to 30 hours or around there. And same thing with the Switch Pro. As far as I heard, the Switch Pro controller, that can last up to 40 hours.
Switch Pro, I can't confirm that.
Forever.
Dude, Riku, that battery life on the Switch Pro controller lasts so long. I don't remember the last time I charged it, and it still works every fucking time.
And see, and that's
with PlayStation, when that shit needs to charge. It's like,
exactly.
Here we go.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't know, man. As far as I heard, battery, the power and the technology in the battery scene has grown a lot over these past couple of years. And if Sony can, get their shit together and put one of those, batteries that are that powerful in the controller, it definitely would need it with all of the shit that you guys were talking about. But like, come on, the other controllers out here with 40, and you can't even give me half, even you can only give me like a quarter of that.
Yeah, well, we don't know yet. We don't know that. We don't know yet. But by the way, the perfect segue to the next thing. Let's talk about the charging, USB-C. Yeah. So, by the way, this is just a little personal aside. So, everybody was talking about, Sony's finally with it. They're finally with the times. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting. I'm like, do I just have old tech? Because there's only one thing in my entire house that has USB-C, which is the Switch Pro controller. Everything else is micro USB. Everything. Every single thing. My controllers, my phone, my tablet. I'm like, damn. I must be using some old shit then,
Tony, what phone do you have? Because I swear that we have the same phone.
No, I have the Galaxy S7.
Oh, I thought you had the S8. Okay.
No, I got the 7, baby. And I got the
same here. I got 7 Edge.
Yeah, and I have the the Galaxy Tab A. That's my main tablet, or was until the fucking iPad. It hurts to say that, man. I feel dirty, you know. And my controllers, obviously, they're all micro USB, you know. So it's kind of going to be interesting for that. So yeah, people were very happy about that. And they also claim that because of that, the controller's going to be able to charge faster. Is any validity to that?
Yeah, that's definitely the case when it comes to USB.
It probably can carry more amps through the connection, so it would charge a battery faster.
Okay, so that's good. Do we really need to go say anything more about that? You know, USB-C, everything's using it now.
It's weird. I think it's because it might be Apple guys saying that, because like all the MacBooks and stuff, they're all the Thunderbolt is just USB-C. So maybe that's why.
Doesn't Apple use some weird shit to charge their stuff, or is that they stopped doing that?
No, on the phone, the iPhone and the iPad has the Lightning connector.
Yeah.
That's proprietary.
For the MacBooks, it's USB-C now. So it's just easy.
That's what they call Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
It's just USB.
This is the shit. You guys see this? This is the shit my iPad uses. What the fuck is this?
The Lightning connector.
All right. Is this like a Apple thing, or is it like an all?
Yeah,
all
it's
stuff
Apple
too?
thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah,
Apple.
but MacBooks use like USB-C, which is so cool, because then it means that I just charge everything from my MacBook. So I charge my phone, charge my Switch. Why not? It's USB-C. It's brilliant.
This is beautiful. Another thing I want to talk about. This is something like a personal concern. So they said that they packed all these features in, but they still wanted to make the controller feel lighter. I'm like, the PlayStation controller is already too fucking light, right? Like me, I like a controller. That's, you know, got to give it up where you know credit's due, right? One thing I love about the Xbox controller, it's fucking heavy. It feels like you could kill somebody with it. You know, that's cool. But PlayStation, it's like light and shit, all flimsy. So I'm like, so you're gonna make it even lighter? Like, come on, man. Like, it's gonna feel like a toy. So I don't know about that, you know. And then if it's lighter, does that mean it's gonna be like easier to break too? Maybe. Like, what if you're raging and shit? You know, you're playing Street Fighter 6, some motherfucker online beats you up, you know, cheating. You throw your shit, just breaks. You know, like how durable is this shit gonna be? You know. So I don't know. I mean, like from the pictures, it looks like thick and shit, but like they claim it's gonna be light. So I don't know about that. You know, what do you guys think about the possibility of a lighter controller?
I don't really care. I mean, weight has never really been like something that was of importance to me when it came to, you know, holding devices. Honestly, I would much rather it be on the lighter side than the heavier side. That's probably because I play a lot of, you know, handheld, so I would rather, you know, you holding it for a long periods of time. Would much rather have something that's lighter. So I guess the same thing applies for controllers, even though it's not necessarily the same thing. But regardless, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum than you, Tony.
All right. What about the rest of you guys? Lighter or heavy?
I don't mind it being lighter. I just don't want it to be too light.
Yeah.
To me, the 6-axis controller was way too light. I felt like you couldn't even feel anything. So I mean, literally, didn't even have rumble. So yeah, I mean, I'm holding the PS4 controller, and it's pretty freaking light compared to the Xbox One.
Yeah, it is.
So maybe a little bit lighter will be not as good for me. I don't know. I just prefer a little bit of heft to the controller. I don't really want it to be that light.
Who's asking for it to be light? Who's complaining that it's too heavy?
That's what I'm saying. Like, this shit's already too light to begin with, you know? I don't get that. Like, make the shit heavier, you know? I forgot there was one controller I reviewed where you could actually put in like weights. You could actually put weights. I'm like, yeah, good, do that. I want to put in weights. I want a fucking big controller, man.
You guys want to fucking bench your controllers, huh?
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm working out and shit while I'm gaming.
These guys want dumbbells.
Like I want it to feel like a machine, not a toy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And I think the Xbox One is like an ideal weight.
Yes, I agree.
With the battery net's ideal.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it's lighter than the DualShock 4, I think it will feel weird to me.
Yeah, so we will see about that, as Richard would say. You know. And the other thing that they talk about, the other thing they changed is there's no longer a share button. Now there's a create button. And they said,
man, that doesn't roll off the tongue.
You know, motherfuckers are going to call that shit the share button. Because it does the same. They said, "Oh, we'll talk more about that later." It's gonna be the same fucking shit. My hope is that when you press it, it doesn't take 15 years for the picture to load up. Let's just be real.
I was playing Doom like the other day. I got the sickest kill on that game, and I'm like, oh, let me save the clip. I pressed the button. I always forget how to fucking save clips in that shit. So I just held the share button. Nothing happened. I'm like, okay, I guess I just didn't share this moment. I'm not gonna share this moment with the world.
Damn.
So they better fix that shit. And by the way, just I don't know. Let me know if I'm jumping the gun, or maybe you guys already talked about it. I got a call from work, so it's like 5 minutes. Did you guys talk about the lack of a PS button?
No, we did not. We'll get to that next.
Okay.
Damn it! Now I lost my train. What were we talking about again?
The share button.
Oh, yeah, share button. Share button. I got that from Riku. Riku, remember that shit, man?
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't roll off the tongue. It has two synonyms. It has
like create button.
Yeah, it does not roll off the tongue. Fuck that.
So yeah, again, I just hope it's faster because, like, when I take pictures, I'm like, okay, gotta time it right, like, and shit. Oh, got it. So we'll see about that.
I think it will be faster for the main fact that this time we have SSD. So all of that
that's what Mighty Nerd just said. What's going on, Mighty Nerd, in the chat, man? Yeah, he just said
good job, Mighty Nerd.
Literally, he just said it as you did.
Yeah, you're on the same wavelength as me. Yeah, it's taking long to load up your clips or pictures. None of that shit should be happening this go around. And if it is, then that's extremely disappointing. You got SSD inside there, and your shit's still taking. Nah, I have 100% confidence that this will not be the case this time around.
That shit's still digging. What? I've never heard that before. Sorry, man. That just made me laugh.
Oh god. We're not talking about games right now. We're just talking about the controller. Isaac, they didn't talk about game side. We just talk about the controller at this point. So yeah, we'll again we will see what this create button means. It's the fucking share button. As long as it's faster, I don't care. All right, and then obviously the touchpad is back, and I believe the reason that thing is back is because they need it to be there for games that require it that are PS4 games. You know what I'm saying? Legacy. But with that said, it didn't need to be that fucking big.
You know what I have to say about that?
What?
I say if that was the reason, that's a stupid reason. And here's why. All you would have to do is say PlayStation 5 is compatible with DualShock. You want to play your fucking PS4 games on your PS5? Pull out your DualShock 4, connect it to your fucking PlayStation 5, and use that.
So I want to use the DualSense, Rico.
Then fuck you. No, no. It's just like I really do hope that's not the reason why they kept the touchpad on there. Hopefully the reason they kept the touchpad on there is because they have hopes that next generation games are going to use the touchpad as well, which, like I said, probably going to force it down to first party games to use it again. But those third party guys, they're probably not going to use it again. Nah. But I hope that's not the reason they left that in there.
I says he loves the touchpad. It's the best map button ever. Games use it correctly. That's what everybody uses it. That button is just a glorified select button. That's all it is, man.
Yeah, glorified select.
Press the select button.
It is definitely. Yeah, I think more games this generation expand your map button.
Yeah. Yo, what's going on, Dude the Third? He says, I hate using the latest DualShock on my PS3. I'm going to ask a potentially ignorant question right now.
Wait, what?
You could use the PS4 controller on the PS3?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, no, you can. So how it works on PS3? They did this when the DualShock 4 first came out.
Whoa, Brian, go ahead, bro.
No, don't you did that. Like, you bought the PS4 controller before the PS4 came out, and you like playing it on your PS3.
No, I bought it, but I never touched it until I got the PS4. I mean, I opened it, played around with it. I didn't try to play the PS3 on it because I assumed it wouldn't work.
I could have sworn that you did that. Like,
I did buy the controller earlier, and I did, take it out of the box and play around with it, but I didn't turn it on because I just assumed, why would a new controller work for the old system?
I can explain it to you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yes. Do I have the floor? Let's go. So basically, when it came to Sony did say that when they gave it to us early, which they said I think they're going to do that again with the DualSense. I think they said they're going to do that again. But they said, yeah, it does work with your PlayStation 3. The catch is, though, you can't just like hook it up and just start playing with it. There's two ways to use your DualShock 4 on the PS3. First way, have it wired. Obviously, if you have it wired, it's just going to work like a wired controller. Second way is kind of stupid, but it works as well. It treats it like it's a Bluetooth device. So you have to go to your settings on the PlayStation 3 and go to the Bluetooth devices. Kind of like, you know how the PS3 had Bluetooth headsets?
Yeah.
You have to connect it that way. It's the same thing. You would see it in the list of Bluetooth devices there. It would call it wireless controller, even though it's the DualShock 4. And then you can use it wirelessly, but the catch to that is you don't have vibration. Vibration just doesn't work. So it's just a wireless controller. But those were the two ways. Yeah, those were the two ways to use it for on.
Okay, I definitely didn't do any of that shit then. That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I did, and I was just like, so I just kept using my DualShock 3.
So will the DualSense work with PS4?
They, as far as I know, they said it will.
All right, because I know
they're gonna give.
Yeah, I know the other way around. Like PS4 controllers will work on it too, from what I understand.
Yeah. I can almost guarantee.
See, but at least that makes more sense to me because internally PS4 and PS5 are as radically different as like PS3 and PS4. You know, so who knows? I mean, that's pretty cool. What was the other thing? Carlos, the fucking the PlayStation button. This button right here, the nice circular button. It's not there anymore, but it also is there. It's just the PlayStation logo. You press. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. I kind of like the circle, you know.
To be honest, I like it only because of the fact that it happened with the the DualShock 3 as well. Maybe it happened to any of you guys. You can attest if it did or didn't, but it happened to me a lot. You drop your fucking controller on the floor, the PlayStation button hits, and your fucking console turns on. Like, god damn it, I didn't want to turn my console on.
Never happened to me.
It happens to me all the fucking time. I always accidentally hit that button. And
why are you dropping your controllers, Riku? Why are you dropping your controllers?
Even if it's not me dropping my controllers, if I'm grabbing it and moving it a place, I accidentally press the PlayStation button and turns it on. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, Chris, go ahead, bro.
I can relate because I have a charging base. I can charge 2 DualShock 4s. And a lot of times I'll push it down to charge it and accidentally hit the PS button and turns the system back on. After I turned it off, I'm going to bed or something. Put on the charger, it turns it right back on. I'm like, shit.
That's me. I turned it off. I'm like, all right. I put the controller on the accidentally. Fuck. Turn it back on.
Yo, man, you know why Riku's been dropping these controllers? They're too damn heavy.
Oh, yeah. Riku, you got to work out, man, with a heavier controller.
No,
bro.
To be honest, I think it's just laying on my bed and just hits the floor.
Yeah, So, I mean, for the PS3, like, it makes sense that was some bullshit because it would just turn off your console. But for the PS4, it'll kind of come in the clutch. It's like you're playing a game, your controller drops, hits the PS button, it goes to the suspend state, and I'm like, woof! I didn't freaking die or anything because it suspends your game and goes to the home screen.
Yeah, I think this time around, with it being a logo, something, I don't know, just looking at it, it looks like I won't accidentally hit it, or it won't accidentally get hit if I drop it anymore. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Yo, Fonzie, you talking about the Duke? He says he likes the first Xbox controller.
Oh, the Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it too.
You could murder a hobo with that shit, man. He says, that controller is big, man. Yeah.
I actually hope that button is more of a clicky type of button. I hope it takes some. Yeah, I hope it's more of like a clicky type of button where you got to put some type of force behind it to push it down. I hope it doesn't, like I said, I hope there takes some force to push that button down because, like I said, that would help me.
Yeah. All right, we talk about the colors and shit. And I'll just read this final thing from Sony. In all, we went through several concepts and hundreds of mock-ups over the last few years before we settled on this final design. DualSense has been tested by a wide range of gamers with a variety of hand sizes in order for us to achieve the comfort level we wanted with great ergonomics. Our goal with DualSense is to give gamers the feeling of being transported into the game world as soon as they open the box. We want gamers to feel like the controller is an extension of themselves when they're playing, so much so that they'll forget it's even in their hands. Dun, dun, dun.
I guess that's what them making it lighter, forgetting that it's in your hands.
Yeah.
But if there's one thing that I am disappointed in, and I hope, like I said, I hope they make a Pro controller or the DualShock 5 eventually comes past it. Back paddles, man. This generation, more than any generation prior, has really implemented back paddles.
Back paddles are the truth, man. Yeah.
Yeah, they really have implemented back paddles as, buttons that, should be default buttons in controllers now. Like, this should have been their opportunity to make the fucking R4 and L4 and put them on the back and call them the back paddles, and everything would have been good. They even had a patent that they were testing out back paddles. They had it all locked down, and even this generation, they came up with that stupid little attachment that you can attach to the bottom of your DualShock 4 to give it back paddles. So it was like they went through all of this trouble, a patent and an attachment. You would think that they were working towards putting back paddles on their next controller.
Yo,
that's all the signs.
That fucking attachment to me is the video game controller equivalent of the 32X. Like, you don't need that shit.
I mean, some people said that it's good, and I saw BG do like a video review on it, and he said he just kept on accidentally hitting the buttons in the back. But the patent that they had, that one looked like it was really good to go. And I'm using an Astro A40 controller over here. Yeah, and that one has the back paddles. And bro, that right back paddle is my sprint button now. I don't give a fuck what the game says. I'm always using that for sprint. It doesn't matter what I'm playing. A JRPG, a shooter, a fucking Souls game. That's my sprint button.
That's awesome. All right, anything else you guys want to say about this controller? The price. Let's speculate now. We don't do this on Throwdown too much, but let us speculate on the price.
$59.99.
$69.99.
Yeah.
Brett, do you remember the conversation you and I had a couple of weeks ago about controller prices?
Yeah, $70.
I think there's going to be $70.
Yeah.
I think it's $70. Yeah.
So
$69.99. Huh?
No bets are going to happen this show. Man, I'm disappointed.
Yeah,
let's go, man.
Mighty nerd. The Rumble Pack for N64 was awesome. Don't disparage that thing, man.
Let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oh, Riku's gonna do a bet.
Let's go.
Here we go.
So how much?
I say it's gonna be at most $64.99. At most. But I think it's gonna be $59.99. Oh, no ranges? Okay, I'm just gonna stick with $59. I think it's gonna be $59.99. Let's go.
I say $69.99.
$69.99. Okay, so what if it's in the middle? What's gonna happen?
And no one wins.
Then no one wins. All right.
No one wins. And I think it'll be funny if the thing that you guys are betting on is the actual controller. The other guy has to buy the other guy the extra controller.
All right, bet.
Let's go.
Yo, man. If I lose, at least I won't have to pay. I won't have to pay $70. No, but yeah. Riku, I'm extending the virtual safe distancing hand for the handshake for the bet.
Hey, social distancing online, motherfuckers. Wash your hands. I think the shit's gonna be $70. I think it's gonna be the first, well, not the first because Nintendo already did it, but like the first Sony controller that costs that much as a regular controller. But with all this shit in it, I don't see it. Riku, man, I don't know, son. We'll see.
The cool thing about this bet is we'll find out this year probably.
Yeah, we will before the PlayStation 5 drops.
We're gonna find out in a couple of months.
Yep.
It'll be on store shelves.
I would like to take this moment to also throw in another price point.
Rich.
I think it's going to be $0 because it will come with the PS5.
Oh, come on.
Come on, Rich.
Yo, man.
Oh, man. Obviously, we're talking about the separate controller. Rich control side.
You petty. You petty motherfucker.
Man.
What's going to happen in regards to PS Now and this controller? Like, will it be compatible off the gate or not?
What do you mean?
Wait, what do you mean? I don't understand the question.
Oh, you mean for PC?
Yes, because again, the DualShock 4 was made that it can work like natively. So hence, will this be like native out the gate for PS Now purposes?
Yo, Brian, watch that feature come like a year later. Patch.
I don't know. I think it might be. I think it might be native off the bat. I mean, considering that Sony seems to be porting stuff to PC at a faster rate. I think they would be negligent, like to just leave that out, like, oh, the DualSense, we don't have drivers or anything. I think they will.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, I'm just being a cynical asshole, you know. Yeah, but no, it's a good question though. Definitely a good question. But yeah, DualSense. When did the DualShock 4 release? Like, what month was it specifically? Month, not the year. Obviously, it's 2013, but what month was it? Because it was before the PlayStation 4 came out. I just want to get it.
I could have swore it was. I could have swore it was a little bit before the summer of that year.
It was before the summer.
Yeah, it was like late spring.
So what? No. Was it after E3 then?
No, I think it was a little bit before E3. Go ahead.
I'm looking at it. When I don't know if this is true, but it says November 14th, 2013.
No, that's when the console came out. Yeah. The controller came out before that.
Okay, let me look other sources.
I could have swore when I bought it, I posted a picture on Facebook. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, that was because your boy got you a copy early and shit, you know.
Shit, boy.
He got it off the back of a truck and shit, you know.
No, GameStop was selling the controllers. They had them.
Yo, Google, do your job, man. When did DualShock 4 release? Watch that shit say November. May. No, that's DualShock. Oh, hold on. The DualShock came out in 1998. That's actually good to know. Isn't that when Metal Gear came out? I remember Metal Gear was one of the first games I used that shit.
That sounds about right. You know what's funny about that? Isn't Metal Gear Solid DualShock 3 Rumble?
I believe so. Damn it.
Yeah, it was that because I bought it when I bought my PlayStation 3. I bought the last bundle that had I bought the first bundle to be bundled with DualShock 3, and it came with Metal Gear Solid 4, and they were advertising them.
Yo,
Tony,
yeah, what's up, bro?
I assume you posted this shit on Twitter, right?
What?
When you got the controller early?
Maybe, probably. So yeah, do a search. Yeah,
because this shit's not coming out on the wiki or anything, man.
Yo, somebody in the chat, let us know, man. Yo, where the fuck is what's his face, man? Goose, man. He usually knows this shit.
Yo, man, where's Goose at?
Where the Goose at, man? He's usually here. What's going on, man? Maybe he's eating mofongo or something. All right, where the fuck are we? All right, again, one last anything you guys want to say about the DualShock, the DualSense?
I'm looking forward to it. When it comes out, I'll get it early. So
yeah, I want to play it. I want to play. Yeah, I was gonna say something else. I'm gonna sound dirty, man. I want to play with it. You know.
Oh, you sounding like Torrance, man.
Yeah, right. I found something like I want to play with it. That's how Torrance would sound. And then put some gravy on it and biscuits and hot potatoes. That's Torrance right there. And then
Torrance, I knocked that goofy ass motherfucker out.
For Thanksgiving, we're gonna have a stuffed turkey filled with yams. Yo, Torrance, he gets crazy when it comes to that shit, man. Oh god. Anyway, by the way, so in case you guys didn't know, you know, the day that that Sony released this shit was also a day that Microsoft had an Inside Xbox. Nobody gave a fuck.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They had it. Nobody gave a fuck. But you know, doing our due diligence on Throwdown, we'll go through it. And by diligence, I mean I'm just going through an article here because I didn't bother to watch that shit.
One thing that you say before that, in regards to Sony releasing that. You remember when the fucking PlayStation logo?
Say that again, Riku. You cut out when the PlayStation what now?
PlayStation 5 logo was shown. It was like the biggest.
That was 20 years. 20 years ago.
PlayStation 5 logo?
Riku doesn't get the joke.
Riku
doesn't get the joke. Riku, this year 2020 has felt so long that happened in January. That feels like it happened 20 years ago.
The point is, you know how it has like it was the biggest liked.
This motherfucker, he just said, "Tony, fuck your joke. We're just gonna keep going." All right, Riku.
Yeah.
All right. So
right. Fuck your joke, motherfucker. No,
Riku said, "Fuck you, man."
Basically, isn't the controller like now the second biggest liked thing, liked video game related thing on social media now?
I'm glad you bring it up. I just find it funny how Microsoft has consistently put out shit almost every week, news every week, right? Yet when Sony does some even random dumb shit like a logo, they get more props. Weird, isn't it? It's like Planet Sony or something, you know?
Does anybody remember that episode of SpongeBob where Squidward's like, he comes out with the mop? No, Squidward was dancing and everyone was like, boo, get off the stage. And then SpongeBob comes with a freaking mop and starts a mop. Everyone just starts clapping. That's fucking PlayStation and Xbox right now.
Yo, for real.
Real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
October 23rd, 2013, Tony Polanco. If I see a DualShock 4 behind the counter next time I go to GameStop, I'm snatching one up. A little piece of that next gen before November 15th. So it at least came out in October 23rd.
Okay, October, all right.
Okay.
Interesting, man.
And Tony did an unboxing video October 29th. So that's when you got it.
Ah, okay. There you go. I was like, damn, that's not far from launch. Because wasn't PlayStation November 13th?
November 15th, I think. 14th, 15th.
All right, so I was off a couple of days. Interesting. All right, let us move on. So yeah, Xbox had a thing. So let's see what they talked about. This will be news for me because I didn't bother. So they showed an early version of Grounded. I don't know what the fuck that is. Does anybody know what that is?
Yeah, that's pretty much Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the game.
Oh, okay.
You know the little the miniature sized people roaming through a field. Yeah.
All right, so they showed something new. Okay, yeah, the Xbox exclusive. I'm guessing it's a survival adventure game, according to
Xbox and PC. It's going to be in the game preview program. This is made by Obsidian, so I guess that's why people was interested in it because Obsidian was behind it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they went from what's the name of that fucking game, Lost Planet or whatever, to this. You know what I'm talking about, that fucking game. It had that chick everybody likes. I'm blanking on every fucking thing tonight. Anyway, whatever. Grounded's coming. They said this is from Kotaku, by the way. We learned that while Xbox Series X games can be stored on any external hard drives, they need to be moved to the internal memory or the official Seagate expansion drive in order to play them. Sounds like PlayStation. You know?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So they brought back memory cards.
Yes.
I mean, essentially, they're just SSDs, mini SSDs in the
proprietary.
Proprietary.
Interesting.
And they'll probably be expensive.
What's the name of that fucking space game? Brett, we talked about it.
Made by Capcom?
Obsidian.
Oh, Obsidian.
Oh, Outer Worlds.
Thank you, Outer Worlds. Yeah. What was the name of the girl that everybody liked in that?
Oh, fuck. I don't
the
remember.
actress?
No, not the character, the mechanic girl.
The mechanic girl.
Yeah.
I forget.
Yeah, you guys know.
I know how she looks, but I can't think of the name.
Yeah.
What's the name of the mechanic girl?
I said Outer Worlds like 10 times, and I just noticed that my mic was fucking.
Damn. All right, yeah, Carlos, we weren't ignoring you, bro. We just didn't hear you.
By the way.
Yeah.
They're Obsidian, and then Ninja Theory is like Ninja Theory just released Bleeding Edge, and Obsidian's gonna release this. How is this gonna go over, man?
Yo, nobody gave a fuck about that game either, man.
About Bleeding Edge, yeah.
Nobody gave a fuck. Like
apparently, Malik Forte gives a fuck about it. He's
shout out to Malik.
Malik is an Overwatch guy, so
yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, yo, Malik, this is third person. Yeah, bro. It is.
It really is, man.
It's third person Overwatch, my guy.
I played the beta, and it was pretty decent, but I'm like, I played this before.
That's why he likes it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So they had. So we kind of already knew that about the Xbox games. You need Xbox Series X games. You need to play them on the actual hard drive. You can't just be doing an external. But they did say the Seagate one, which is interesting. The official Seagate expansion drive.
Yeah, they partnered with Seagate to do their memory shits.
Yo, Seagate did some awesome externals for the Xbox One, man. So makes sense. All right. It says the next thing here: Forza Street is heading to iOS and Android. Who gives a fuck? Let's see. Some games coming to Xbox Game Pass include Journey to the Savage Planet. That's a good game, by the way. Journey to the Savage Planet. Football Manager 2020. Okay. Missed over Stranger Things 3, the game. I didn't know they had a Stranger Things game, period. PC Game Pass. Interesting.
What?
Yeah. Yakuza Kiwami is coming. That's cool.
Kiwami?
Yeah, you get that shit. That game's awesome. All right. We got Minecraft Dungeons on May 26th. Journey to the Savage Planet expansion. Hot Garbage, it's called. That's kind of fun. April 15th. Holy shit, isn't that like next week? I believe it is.
Yeah.
April 15th. Payday?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Excuse me? All right. By the way, little off topic. I'm a pretty frugal guy, right? Like when I go out, I don't spend that much money, but I obviously spend money when I go out, right? I look at my bank account today. I'm like, damn, not going out for a month is saving me a lot of fucking money. Jesus.
I'm the exact same way. I'm like, oh, excuse me?
You know, because I guess it just adds up. You know, like you're like, hey, I'm a $5 burger here, drink there, or whatever. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, because I'm looking at my bank. I'm like, yo, fuck, where did I get all that money from? It's like you haven't been spending money, bro. You know, because I'm not even buying shit from Amazon. I'm like, I don't want some fucking Corona C virus shit coming to my house from Amazon. I'm like, I'm not ordering nothing. I saw Shin Godzilla was on sale for $5 at Amazon. I'm like, nope, nope. I don't want that shit coming to my house.
You should ship that shit to a PO box and just let it stay there for 14 days.
Yo, you're right about that. Yo, I thought you were gonna say ship it to somebody I hate.
No, you do it. That's what you do with pineapple pizzas, man.
Yo, oh my god, man.
Somebody give me Tony address so I can send him a pineapple pizza.
No, Torrance tried that. That shit didn't work for him, man. Yo, by the way, speaking about Torrance, him and I'm gonna try to not talk about the reasons for this, but basically, he was saying like, Tony, wouldn't you get mad if somebody said that all Hispanic people smell like pineapple pizza? And I said, I would get mad at that because we all smell like adobo.
No, man, that shit is borderline offensive.
Yo, fuck that motherfucker Torrance. We were in the group chat, and I accidentally put my address on one of the screenshots of that. This motherfucker sent me a Popeyes t-shirt. I wanted to choke that motherfucker out.
Wait, what kind of t-shirt did he send you?
A Popeyes.
Yeah, Popeyes chicken. Riku doesn't like Popeyes.
Oh, motherfucker.
Chicken sandwich.
I wore it when I got the chicken sandwich. Like, oh, you must be a fan. I want to hop over the table and smack that bitch.
Yo. By the way, update on the chicken sandwich. I don't know if I said this. The first time I had tried the Popeyes chicken sandwich, I wasn't feeling it. I thought it was kind of dry. I went to a different spot. Yo, butter.
Oh, it's good, man.
Yo, it was fucking good.
It was the butter sandwich?
Don't get me wrong. It wasn't worth getting stabbed over like some people.
Yeah, definitely not.
But that shit was fucking legit, man. So I'm saying.
Same thing with me. Like I liked it the first time, but I had the spicy, and I'm like, the sauce isn't spicy. But I noticed that I had it a second time, and they skipped on the sauce the first time. Second time they had more sauce. That shit was good.
Man, I wish I could go to Popeyes game and do that right now. But yeah, I just found that interesting. I looked at my bank account today. I'm like, damn, more money than I'm used to seeing in this bitch. And I know how to save my money. You know what I'm saying? I'm good
man,
with
that's
money.
a sign, man.
Yeah.
That's a sign that you're saving up to get the next generation of consoles.
Right. Yeah.
After they get delayed, though.
Yo, for real, man. Remember, I was like on the other side of that fence. I was like, they're not delaying. Those motherfuckers getting delayed. They get delayed, bro.
Shit, man.
All right. Next up, we have Gears Tactics, which I believe is an RTS, right?
I think that's the mobile Gears game, right?
It's coming to PC.
Oh.
Oh, check it out. This is good. It will have Rich. Check this out. No loot boxes or microtransactions.
Yeah, it's coming to PC, and it'll be coming to consoles later, to Xbox One later, PC at launch.
So there you go. I saw some people getting hyped about it. I don't get it. It's a tactics game. I don't like tactics games. All right. Next up, what's up?
You don't like tactics games?
No, like XCOM and shit. I'm not into that.
Interesting.
Yeah, not into that. It's like slow and boring. I also don't like Final Fantasy Tactics either. I'm like, what is this? I think Valkyria Chronicles, the only tactics game I do like, fucked it up for me because it's third person.
What about Advance Wars?
Nah, I don't like that either.
Damn, Torrance is rolling right now.
Torrance isn't even a gamer anymore, man. He don't.
Let's go, Torrance Davis Slender. I'm here for it.
Oh man, yo, Ricky, you see what we do to this man in the chat, though, right? Like, anytime he
What do you
talks
do?
about games, it's like, all right, Torrance, get out of here. Men are talking right now, you know. I play games too. No, you don't, man. All right. Yo, again, one of the things that gets me through every day, man, this is even before the Rona, man, riffing on Torrance, man. That shit never gets old. I bust Torrance's chops every fucking day, man.
Same here.
You know, Brian and Riku, he already know, man.
Roasting that motherfucker all day in the chat.
All right. All right. Yo, by the way, shout out to STFU and Play, man. Got the shirt on tonight.
Let's go.
All right. Several countries in Western Europe have a chance to win or check out Project xCloud for themselves. That's pretty cool. Brian, that's all you right there, bro.
Sounds cool, but I don't really care anymore.
Yo, the way
Damn,
Brian
Brian.
says it, yo.
Whenever they do like,
No
these things where it's like-
passion.
well, it's like they launch first in the US, and then by the time it gets here, like no one really cares anymore. So why do that? Just launch it all worldwide at the same time. Life is easier.
Hey, that's the reason The Last of Us is being delayed, man.
They can release that digitally. They're just being greedy.
Yo, man, I agree.
Hey, I didn't say it, man. Even though I agree. All right. Fuck. Hotline Miami Collection is now available on Xbox One. That's cool.
What?
Yeah.
I got
It
both
came
of
out like
those
10 years
motherfuckers
ago.
on my Vita.
Yeah, that game's old.
Well, it's new on Xbox, man.
Oh shit! I didn't even
It's
know.
new
it was
to me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, something called Atomic Core Crops. What the fuck that is. All right, and finally, the next Sea of Thieves update arrives on April 22nd. Ships of Fortune features an expanded reputation system, an overhauled competitive mode, new cosmetics, and perhaps most importantly, cats.
Oh,
I
Brett.
thought,
Oh,
I thought you were
Brett.
gonna.
God damn.
Yeah, so Brett, are you jumping in, man? They got cats now.
You know, I mean, maybe. The weird thing is, like, games these days last way longer than I'm used to. And I'm starting to have to wrap my brain around the fact that, and I realize part of it's just me as an old gamer. Like, you know, the idea used to be that when you moved on from a game, that was it. The community kind of just moved on with you. Well, now games are coming out less. The community stick around longer, so games get revitalized. Fallout 76 Wastelanders just came out. I'm willing to give it a chance. Like, weirdly enough, it's been getting really good reviews, despite Fallout 76 having gotten really bad reviews. So, all in all, I think it's sitting at like a 90% right now. So,
Oh, wow.
people are apparently really happy with it. So maybe it's just like a No Man's Sky situation where, you know, when it happened with No Man's Sky, I was like, you know what, fuck this. But it seems to be happening more and more now, where sometimes a game doesn't get good until 2 years after it's released.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a hot mess until then. I'm looking at you, Division.
No. By the way, Brett, I'm gonna pause you there because we actually have this exact question for Sunday's show on the same topic. So just keep it fresh because everything you're saying, I'm like, yeah, man, you're right. But it's from Goose, and he just wants to know if Anyway, we'll get to it on Sunday. But it's about like are some games meant to be better? Are some games meant to be enjoyed better years later than at launch? Something along those lines. So it should be interesting. Anyway, so yeah, Sea of Thieves update. So that was the Xbox, Inside Xbox, which nobody watched because they were busy talking about the PlayStation controller and
We're just looking at
looking at
pictures.
pictures, or we're looking at people's mock-ups, which are very creative, man. And then motherfuckers ain't got nothing better to do right now, so go ahead, go nuts.
These guys ain't gamers.
I just will make a quick comment.
Go ahead, brother.
I did watch Inside the Xbox, and I have to agree 100%. It was not worth my time watching that. So Microsoft, I just want them to get to E3. They said they're going to do their own little version of E3. Let's just see what they got for that. They don't even bother releasing any other news until that time comes.
Rich, that was the smoothest fucking segue, man, you could have done for me right now, son. Because that's the next topic. Okay, so you guys remember, again, this year feels a little weird because, like, literally March feels like 10 fucking years ago. So early in March or sometime in March, it could have been last week for all I fucking know. The ESA said they're going to hold an all digital E3 or something like that. Something along those lines, right? Now they said they're canceling that. So
They lied.
They lied. Scully, remember when I said I'd kill you last? I lied.
Well, here's the question. It may be somebody on the panel can answer this question. If they were going to have a E3 digital show, what the hell was the ESA going to show? Because everybody they're doing their own thing. You know, EA got their own little show. Microsoft and Ubisoft are doing their own little independent shows. So,
Yeah. And
But
IGN has like a thing where they have Square Enix, Bandai Namco, Devolver
Yeah.
Digital. Yeah.
Rich,
okay.
that's the answer. The ESA cannot facilitate any of these guys digitally. They all have their own shit going on. What are they going to do? Put their logo over everyone's shit? They can't help anybody. So it's pointless. Without the Los Angeles Convention Center, they are useless.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm pretty sure the way that it was going, it's like the ESA is like, okay, we'll provide the Twitch channel, so we can host you guys, so you can show your content. I'm like, and the other companies are probably like, we already got our own Twitch channels. It's like, you know, it's like figuring out that these people are not useful to their lives.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That goes back to what I said about E3. It's like as much as it pains me because I love E3, it's not necessary anymore, man. It really isn't. Everybody can just do their own fucking thing now. So basically, ESA, they canceled this shit and they said that instead we will be working with exhibitors to promote and showcase individual company announcements. What the fuck does that even mean?
Man, who knows?
Whatever, man.
Chris, like, can you like translate PR speak? Because I can in that sense.
Oh, I think they realized that Sony has probably 20 times more Twitter followers than they do. So they're like, I guess we'll just retweet whatever they say.
Yeah, that was literally what I said. That was literally what I said. Like, what does that mean promoting? Like, you're just gonna retweet shit? That's it. Oh my god. ESA's a fucking joke, man. Here's another one of their statements. We look forward to bringing our industry and community together in 2021 to present a reimagined E3 that will highlight new offerings and thrill audiences. Yeah, whatever, man. Fuck out of here.
If we needed to see a video or an explanation of how they mishandle information and then get people exposed by releasing all of their information when they register, they will be good at giving an overview of that.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh man. Yes, agent. Okay. So anyway, yeah, IGN, they're gonna have their own thing. They're gonna have Square Enix, Sega, Bandai Namco, and Devolver Digital. It's gonna be a Summer of Gaming event in early June, so that should be worth looking into. You know, I guess that's the only thing you're gonna get this year. You know, in lieu of E3. Like, yo, I don't even think you're having like Gamescom this year, are they? Like, I don't know, man.
That's a good question. I don't think so.
Yeah, they haven't said anything one way or another, but you know, we'll see, man. All right, so that's that out of the way, and the next thing we're going to talk about is that basically if you have pre-ordered The Last of Us 2 or Iron Man VR from the PlayStation Store, you already got automatically refunded because the game's delayed indefinitely. Both of them are delayed indefinitely, so that's good. You don't have to do anything. If you pre-order the game, you got your money back. So yeah, what do you guys think about that, Rich? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that's excellent news. I mean, I didn't pre-order Last of Us 2 yet, so
Smart man.
It didn't impact me, although I did think about it because I did pre-order God of War, but I did not pre-order it. I think it's good. You know, of course, I am concerned about when they say they delay it indefinitely and then they take it off the store entirely. So I don't know when that means the game is dropping. I guess we'll have to wait to hear that information.
Yeah. I mean, the games aren't being pulled. It's just you could pre-order them again at a later time, whatever the hell that's going to be.
Yeah.
See, I want to know, why did Iron Man get delayed? It's like, was that supposed to get a physical release? Isn't it just a fucking VR digital game?
Right?
That shit makes no fucking sense.
That's a very good question. I have no idea. Yeah, because that was coming out in May too, right?
Yeah, May 15th for the Iron Man game and May 29th for The Last of Us 2.
So it's just a hot new VR game that everyone's excited to play.
Yeah.
So,
Oh shit.
You know?
this is my ignorance right now because I've never seen these games. Do they have physical? This is gonna retarded ass question. Do they have physical VR games?
I think there was some. There was some.
I think so.
Okay, because I think it was just me assuming that VR games were just fucking digital, but I don't know.
I mean, Resident Evil 7 is technically.
Yeah, but it's also a real game too, you know.
A real game. What you trying to say, Tony?
Oh damn! Now the question. See, here's the thing. I want to say that's a Freudian slip, but was it a Freudian slip? Dun, dun, dun. Maybe my mind's tell me something I don't even know. Man.
Here's the thing about May 29th.
My body. Carlos, what are you doing to me right now, bro? Oh man.
Go ahead, Rico.
Damn.
Yeah, so the thing about May 29th was when they announced that Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition for Nintendo Switch is coming out May 29th as well. I was like, fuck, isn't that the same day as The Last of Us? I'm going to need Xenoblade Chronicles to get delayed. And then Last of Us gets delayed. I'm like, well, May 29th is good to go for Xenoblade now.
Yo, hold on. I got to bring up the obvious, Riku. Thank you for saying that. So, Last of Us 2 coming out May 29th gets delayed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Xenoblade was the Xenoblade Chronicles, right?
Xenoblade Chronicles, yes, Definitive Edition.
May 29th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not delayed.
Yeah.
Nope.
Isn't that interesting?
Rather fucking interesting.
I'm just saying, like, listen, games are coming out right now, and as we can see, games will be coming out even on the same day, bro.
Well,
We got a game coming out in 3 minutes. That Final Fantasy.
yeah.
Oh, that shit I've been playing for like 40 hours. I can tell you more about that in a bit. Anyway, Chris, go ahead, bro. I hear you back over there, brother.
We'll talk about
Let's
that.
let's just call out Naughty Dog right now. The excuse they gave was bullshit.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Yo,
Carlos,
man.
where you at, son? Dude.
Yo, man, it was some fucking bullshit. I mean, Chris dropped the mic.
Yes, it was bullshit. Nothing else you can say about that. Again, I'm just saying, Last of Us 2, May 29th canceled. Xenoblade Chronicles, May 29th. The shit is still coming out. And it's a Switch game, so you know that shit's going to sell a lot. And there's going to be plenty of copies available. I am just saying. It's bullshit, man.
Wuhan is open
Bullshit.
for
It's
business.
bullshit. This is the day.
You know motherfuckers in Wuhan buying that Xenoblade, man.
Yo,
they ain't
man,
buying
that's-
no Last of Us, though.
Oh,
Wait,
dude.
look. And
Yo, they
also
ain't buying it like, yo, that hits too close to home, bro. I'm not buying that shit.
Hold on. Hey, a quick question.
Yes.
Why is it?
Do y'all think that Ghost of Tsushima is gonna get delayed?
Yes.
Ah, man.
I'll say it right now. Yes, it's gonna get delayed, and they're gonna give the same bullshit reason. And I'm just gonna say it's garbage.
Yeah. Yo, we can't sell it because we can't sell it to motherfuckers in Wuhan, man.
I'm gonna say it. Sony sits on a throne of lies.
Oh, dude.
What is going on?
Man.
Yo, Damien, where you at, son? You hearing all
Damien,
this?
you listening to this, son? Yo,
You hear
man.
this? You hear this? S
Well-
this Sony slander?
You know,
Yo, no, hold on.
I gotta take off
hold on.
my hat right now. Put on
Yo.
an Xbox hat. Man.
Yo, the Xbox One sucks. All right, now Damien's listening.
Yeah. Yo, why you saying Xbox sucks? Yo, ponies, man, you didn't hear the shit around it, bro.
Ponies.
Yo, man. Nah, Chris is right. Like there was no reason why they couldn't just release this game digitally and, done their marketing for the physical later. It's like if you guys really care about your consumer base, like this is the perfect time to release a piece of entertainment that people can easily access through digital means, and they could pass the time when shit's hitting the fan.
Yeah.
The
last
what's
two
going
major
on,
games
Goose?
I bought recently,
Yeah.
I bought them digitally. I didn't go out and buy Resident Evil 3. I can't in some places. I just went on the fucking PS Store and bought it. Final Fantasy VII, I'll do the same thing. I want to play Neo 2, I'll do the same thing. I have no problem getting games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, I just had an idea. You know what Sony should do, right? If they want to maximize their profits, right? This is me getting conspiratorial. Release the shit digitally and take advantage of the guys who are going to buy digitally, physically, because they want a physical copy. Like, I know I have it on PlayStation 4, but I really want it physical. So I'm going to buy it again. You know? Hey, I'm just saying. Yo, Goose, man, you fucking late, bro. I was asking mad questions that only you had the answer to. You weren't around, man. I had to go to Google and shit.
Yo, man,
You might live in Google, man. Like I'm
You
pretty
had to
sure
go to Twitter advanced search and shit.
this dude was probably this dude was probably like passed out drinking some Brugal and shit after having some mofongo, you know.
What the fuck is that?
But I forgive you, man.
That shit sound like a Monster Hunter creature, my guy.
Oh, let me tell you about the virtues of mofongo, my friend. So basically, you in my case, because you can have it with any kind of fried animal skin, but the ones I like, you take some chicken skin, right? You fry that shit up. Take some plátanos, right? Fried plátanos, and you mash them up in a pilón and shit, and you make a ball out of it. It is so fucking good. Oh, Riku, man, and you're an islander too, bro.
Like,
Riku, you're from the islands. Yeah, you know the power of plátanos, bro. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
But Riku, you can also have it with pork skin too if you want. Oh my fucking god, son. Goose, you already know, son. You already know. Chicharrones. Oh my god. Fuck. And I can't go to the spot to buy them. Chris, you know where I get my chicharrones? Main Street, Flushing Main Street, bro.
Yeah.
Can't go there now. You know?
Shit.
Basically, for you guys who don't know, Flushing Main Street is Queens' Chinatown. They have the best. Yo, you want fresh shit, bro? Salmon, chicharrones, all that shit. Big, fat fucking pieces of pork, bro. Fresh. You know? Can't buy them anymore, man. Not now. Anyway, let's move on, man. Oh, by the way, Chris, you mentioned Resident Evil, right?
Yes.
Resident Evil 8, man. Rumors already circling, son.
Oh, man. Kristen was all over that. She was reading these rumors to me. It's like, you hear this shit?
Yeah.
It's going to be in a castle.
So since you're the big Resident Evil guy here, why don't you tell us about Resident Evil 8, The Village?
Yeah, it sounds very much like a soft reboot of 4, right? You go into this, like, fictional European setting. There's villagers, and you can apparently the main protagonist is going to be Ethan Winters again from 7. He travels to this village, and it has something to do with a parasite stuff
boy.
that, and then they're adding mechanics. And Brett will like this. Apparently, there's an insanity mechanic.
Yeah, Brett, doesn't that sound familiar?
My ears perk up on that.
Yeah, like Eternal Darkness. So basically, Ethan is fighting stuff, and he doesn't know if it's real or not. Right? He's getting attacked by werewolves and shit. There's this witch that chases him around, and apparently when you shoot her, she just turns into bugs and runs away. Like, all this shit, and then he doesn't know what's real and what's not. So I think that would be a very interesting mechanic. So those were the rumors coming out. There's something to do with a castle, and it seems to be haunted, but, again, he can't tell reality from hallucinations. So it's probably you finding a cure.
Yeah, and they also said something about this game having some Resident Evil 4 mechanics.
Yeah, the rumor was you're going to have the attache case.
Yeah.
Kind of like that in 4 for your inventory. I don't know about that because they kind of have this consistent solid inventory from the last 2. So I wonder if they're either going to say, oh, we want to go retro, because they've used the same inventory for the last 3 games. Like 7, 2, and 3 Remake all have the same one.
That's
so
right.
It'd be kind of weird to go back to 4 with the attache case where you can turn things like to fit it in.
Yeah.
You're
right. That's like too for the lack of a better term, too gamey sounding. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like a mini game within a game. The other thing I kind of found interesting that you just said right now, you said there's some witch in this game, right? Or some haunted shit going on. That's interesting because remember, that was one of the original ideas for Resident Evil 4, the original version of it. Like, there was ghosts in it and shit. They obviously abandoned all that. So it's kind of interesting that they're doing that. But they're using the hallucination angle to work that in, Yeah,
I think that's cool. I don't know if there wasn't enough in the rumor to know if the insanity affects your health at all. But I think the idea that... Dead Space 2 kind of approached that, right? Where Isaac was hallucinating so bad he'd see shit and he didn't know if it was real or not. I think this kind of be the next level of that,
It's gonna be crazy, man. And I guess it's gonna be first person and all that.
It's back to first person.
Yeah. GZR says, does Resident Evil 8 have a VR version? We don't know. Too early to tell. Right now, it's just a rumor that this shit's coming out. But the thing is, the name of the game, village, right? But if you take the letters, VILL, that's 8.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. They did something similar with 7, I believe.
Yeah, the evil.
Yeah, evil. Yeah.
Evil. They put 7. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Spelled 7.
I mean, and even though this is a like a sequel, it is still a new game, and Capcom needs more new games.
Yo, man, Resident Evil tricks are for kids. Tricks, like you can spell the IX on that 9.
Wait, what happened?
God damn it!
Yeah.
It was a joke, man. Yo, man, you gotta take your shots when you want to throw a joke. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. This one didn't.
Yeah, I agree with Goose. I think they probably will do VR for 8 because VR is still going to be a thing. You know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's so weird to hear you say that.
Yeah, isn't it, Brett? But it is, man.
I mean, but it's not like it's like thriving or anything.
No, it's not.
Like,
Yeah, it's not in the
with
zeitgeist or
PlayStation.
anything. Yeah, but it's doing enough to say it's going to have another version. You know, I think it would be stupid to say otherwise. You know, but it could also turn out to be Kinect. Remember, the first Kinect did great. The first iteration Kinect did very good, and look what happened after that. All right, where the fuck are we?
Well,
What's up?
we were supposed to have news at E3, so I'm assuming they'll have some kind of online reveal for it.
Yeah.
Around the same time.
Damn, Goose. He goes, it didn't land, but I give it to Carlos. He tries. Hey, man. You know?
Hey, man, you gotta, comedians have flops too, man.
That's hey, listen, you can't hit them all out of the park, right? All right. He says Don Matrick, man. What's going on with Don Matrick these days?
Oh man, what is he ruining now?
Was he on Stadia too? Yo, yeah.
Now they already got the power of Phil Harrison for that.
That's Phil Harrison, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Dana, by the way. She's in the chat, and she said I think she asked me on Twitter. I was like, should I get Stadia for 2 months free? I'm like, no.
I mean, if you get the 2 months free, you don't have to put your credit card information. Go for it. But if you do have to put your credit card information, then I always say no, because if you forget, you're gonna have to pay, and it's like, nah. I dropped this shit 2 days after I got it.
Yeah, she says 2 free months of Stadia. Is it worth it? I said not worth it.
I would say. I mean, I'm actually kind of interested just to see how it is right now. For the point.
Go ahead.
For the point in history, like let's say 10 years from now, it's like, remember the Stadia? It's like, yeah, remember that shit? Kind of like I tried it for like a week and it didn't work.
I'm more curious
what happened?
Don't talk shit about Ouya.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing I was thinking. I was going to say the Ouya.
We'll spit up my Drake, you motherfuckers.
Or the Steam machines.
Well, how's NVIDIA's service doing? I haven't heard anything since
the Shield. We got Adam on that one.
The Shield did sell good enough, but eventually, I mean, it all is mold because fucking the Switch. It all became worth it because of the Switch.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah. All right, later, Fonzie. All right, so moving on here. All right, so this is kind of interesting. We got some Streets of Rage 4 updates, but before we tell you the updates, so in Australia, I think it was Australian Amazon. You guys in the chat could correct me on that. Some Australian outlet said that Streets of Rage 4 was coming out April 23rd, which drove me fucking wild because we've been waiting for a release date forever. And then literally like half an hour later, I got an email from PR saying, yo, no, there's no release date yet. Let your followers know that shit. So no release date, but we did get treated with a new trailer, which is pretty dope. So the game is going to have 12 playable characters, and a lot of them are going to be the retro characters from the old games in their old sprites and shit, And on top of that, the old school music from 1 and 2. I'm fucking ready for this shit, man.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, because some people are saying, hey, I can't play a skate. You can play a skate now, people. So
they have everyone.
Everybody's in this shit. Yeah, you're right.
Skate's my favorite character.
Yeah, man. So yeah, it's every all of them. I'm looking at this shit right here. So it's gonna be interesting because you obviously have these like superly hand drawn characters with the pixels, but it somehow works.
It works, but you know what? I got most excited when they put on the retro soundtrack.
Oh man,
I was like, "Oh, that's amazing!"
It's over. I can't fucking wait for this shit, and it's cool because they not only did they get a bunch of new guys to do songs for the new game. They also got the the original composer and shit. Man, it's gonna be good. I forgot what, because basically every single time you face a boss, the music is from a different artist, which is actually kind of cool, And then like the main game has like a regular dude, doing the soundtrack. But this shit, all I know is the game is coming soon. But the reason it's taking so long is because everything has to be hand drawn. If they got to redo something, we got to redraw it again. People don't appreciate how much work goes into shit like that. Why do you think we don't have any Cuphead DLC? They may as well just do a new game.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, might as well. Man, I miss Cuphead.
Yeah. Brett, I'm looking at you. Oh no Cuphead for you right now. You're on Animal Crossing, right?
I'm on Animal Crossing and Neo.
Yeah. We'll get your thoughts on Neo in a little bit, man. All right.
As we should.
Yeah. Actually, a perfect segue. Okay, so let's talk about the games we have been playing lately, and this means I will tell you guys all about the Final Fantasy VIIs later. But let's go down the line here. Riku, start us off, man. What games have you been playing lately, man?
So I'm playing that Final Fantasy, and currently now,
Final Fantasy 9. You cut out Final Fantasy 9, guys.
Yes, 9. And it's currently in my top 3 favorite Final Fantasy.
Damn, already?
Oh.
Shit.
Already, I'm not even done with the game. It's already in the top 3.
Wow.
Damn.
So, yeah, before I played 9, my top 3 was at number 3 it was Final Fantasy 7. At number 2 it was Final Fantasy 4, and at number 1 it was Final Fantasy 6. It bumped Final Fantasy 7 off.
Whoa.
So now,
Oh shit!
Wow.
Yeah. So it's sitting at number 3 for me right now.
What do you like about it?
Basically everything. Everything just like how it should feel, man. This is good. I like I like the character. I like the story. I think the only thing that I am not really feeling that much, and I don't remember anyone even like hyping it up. So that's probably why, is the music. I think Uematsu, I think his name was. I think this is probably the. Yes, I personally think this is the weakest score I've ever heard him create for any game. It isn't bad. I actually do like the encounter music, but other than like the intro music, with the harmonica playing and the encounter music, every other background music in this game is just But other than that, like everything about this game is just solid, man. Fucking love it.
Nice. Is that the only game you're playing right now, Riku?
You said what?
Is that the only game you're playing?
Yes, that is the only thing I'm playing right now.
Yeah.
Just trying to make sure I knock it out. Is it because I'm tweeting all trying to drill this out the way?
Yeah, and did you finish 8?
I did finish 8.
Oh.
Didn't platinum it, but I am going back to platinum it after I'm done with 9. I'll go back and platinum 8 and then 9 and then 7 remake.
Nice. We'll talk about that.
Yo,
Carlos,
Riku.
question? Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Did you? What did you say about Final Fantasy 9 compared to 7?
I think it's better.
Yo, man, why are they remaking 9 then?
Because 7 is the one that saved the company.
Oh, yeah. It didn't save the company, but it the one that saved the company was actually the original Final Fantasy. Ironically enough,
no, both of them did at 2 different points in their life.
Yeah, no, but Square Enix was in good shape when Final Fantasy VII came out.
Squaresoft.
Yeah, Squaresoft. They weren't in bad shape. They were at their
as far as I heard, they were.
No, they weren't. They were not. They were at the top of their game back then. But the game obviously introduced a lot of Western players to RPGs. That's the main thing. But it didn't save the company. The company was not in dire straits. The first Final Fantasy. By the way, for you guys who don't know.
You know what I heard?
Yeah,
it was the budget that they put behind the game. I heard if they didn't make back from what they put in to 7, they would have been in some heavy situations.
Okay. That may be true. I don't know about that, but yeah, but like they were pretty good before that. It's the Final Fantasy. For you guys who don't know, the reason the original game is called Final Fantasy because Square Enix, they were about to go like close up shop. They didn't have any money, and they were like, okay, we got money for one last game. So forgetting the name of the guy, Sakaguchi, I believe it is. He was like, all right, I'm gonna make one final game, Final Fantasy, and guess what happened?
Weren't they gonna call it like Final Fight or something?
No, it was Final Fantasy because it was the Final Fantasy of the company.
I'll
And
look it
then
up.
yeah, look it up. But yeah, that's the main reason he called it Final Fantasy is because final game from SquareSoft. So and then of course the ironic thing is the game saved the company, and now every game's called Final Fantasy, even though they're not final. The shit's never gonna end, So what the fuck? Okay, so yeah, Final Fantasy 9. I have to admit, I've never played that one because that was a PlayStation 1 game. Even though I didn't own PlayStation 1, I did play 7 and 8. But 9, it was like like Manny said, I was already in the future, not going back. But I would like to play it again because I hear nothing but good things, and I hear that game is pretty much the culmination of every Final Fantasy before it distilled into that. Like it had the medieval shit from the original Final Fantasies, but the technology of the newer ones, which would be 7 and 8 in that case. So that's dope. All right, and moving on here to Richard. What have you been playing lately, man?
Okay, I got to play this little independent game called Resident Evil 3 Remake.
Oh shit! Never heard of it.
Yeah, I know it's. I heard it's pretty popular. I guess. So I know Chris has also mentioned he's playing this game, and I'm just gonna say right now I agree 100% with what Chris said. Game is incredibly short. I was surprised how fast I finished that game. And I saw that they also had the Resident Evil Resistance multiplayer, which I must admit, I haven't really enjoyed that quite as much because when I first started playing it, there wasn't a lot of people that was on the servers, so it was hard to get into a match where I had other people that I was playing with on a team. I will give Capcom credit for adding that in the package because if they only had Resident Evil 3, I don't think that game is worth the $60 price because it is so short.
Wow.
But it's still a fun game, I guess. I think they did a very good job on Nemesis, so that was a plus. It does feel kind of disappointing that there is no replay value because you're able to play as both of the characters in just the main game, unlike Resident Evil 2 Remake where you could replay the game.
Yeah.
But still, I think it's a pretty decent game. But as I had mentioned on the co-op, I would not tell someone to pay $60 for this game unless you are a diehard fan and you have to play it, only because you have to know what you're getting into. Because I think about when I buy a game now, how long am I going to be playing this game? And that definitely factors into whether or not I want to spend full price on it. But still a fun game, not completely disappointing. But if you ask me, compare this to Resident Evil 2 Remake, I think Resident Evil 2 Remake definitely a better experience, but this is still, it does offer something, and they did a good job on Nemesis, so I will give them credit for that.
Just quick thing, Isaac says they took so much out of the original, the hospital was the only thing they improved. So that's what he says about that. By the way, Rich, it's kind of interesting. Your complaints about the Resident Evil 3 Remake are the exact complaints people had about the original Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Like, it's too short compared to 2, which is kind of interesting.
Oh yeah. And Isaac makes a very good point. I feel like I don't want to say I don't know if Capcom maybe rushed this game. I don't know how long it's been in development. But I will say this: I really hope that they do not remake Resident Evil 4.
No, don't touch
that. Don't. Yeah, don't.
Yeah. Don't do that. They need to relax. I know they're working on this new game, so let's let them focus on that. But do not remake Resident Evil 4, please.
Can you play Resident Evil 4 currently on PS4?
Yes.
Yes.
You could play it on everything. That game gets constantly remastered and shit. Yo, I'm gonna say this right now.
Remastered game in industry.
Yeah, you guys know me. I never believe that game's. Any game should get a 10 out of 10, right? You guys know me. That's why some of the fans have coined 9.5 a Tony perfect, right? Resident Evil 4, that's a 10 out of 10 game.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the other one? We talked about this on Twitter.
Super Mario World and Super Metroid. Those are the only 3 games I give perfect 10s out of 10s to. Resident Evil 4 is perfect. You cannot. The only thing you could change is the graphics. Maybe make it on the RE engine, but the gameplay you cannot change it. It is perfection, level design, everything immaculate. So don't touch that shit, Capcom. If you want, remake the first one again. On the RE engine, you could do that. Because that game, I'm sorry, that GameCube remake that they put on PS4, that shit is unplayable. I can't play those old Resident Evil games anymore, which is sad because I used to play the fuck out of them, but I can't do it, man. So remake that shit. If you have to remake anything, do that. Leave Resident Evil 4 the fuck alone. Don't touch that shit. Again, and Carlos, because they keep remaking this shit or remastering it, I played every 3 or 4 years. I'm like, yeah, this shit is still fucking still the butt of game. It still holds up. Yeah. It's amazing.
I replayed that game on the Wii, and it was still fucking butter game.
Yeah. Yo, man, back in the day, I played that shit like crazy on PS2. Over and over and over again. But that game, it incentivizes you to replay them because your weapons will get stronger and shit. So it feels cool. Like, your first playthrough, you're kind of like this weak little bitch and shit. You're barely able to kill zombies. And you come through on the second playthrough, you shoot them once in the head with a regular pistol. They're fucking rolling. Fucking awesome, man. But yeah, Resident Evil 3, I loved it, man. I think it's just as good a remake as 2, but I will agree it is a shorter game. That's why I kind of say it complements 2. To that extent, but I kind of knew it was going to be a shorter game just because of the fact that there's only one playthrough. It's not 2 of them, like Resident Evil 2 was. And if you think about it, there's actually 4 playthroughs of Resident Evil 2, depending on who you choose to play as first, because things change. It's crazy.
Also,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask, is this game getting DLC? Does anyone know?
Not that I know of. Did 2 get DLC?
Yeah, it did. The tofu stuff and the alternate run-throughs. I forgot what it was called. Not Fourth Survivor. There's this other mode.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about that.
But not story. I would like story DLC in this one.
Yeah, because not Romero, by the way. Carlos, he does his own thing in the game.
Yo, man.
Yeah, like there's a couple points where he leaves and does other shit. So it would be cool to do that.
Yeah.
Tofu was in 2 from the start. That's what Isaac says. Yeah, all right.
Wasn't that it was the alternate ones where you play as the other survivors? Like if Kendo survived or the mayor's daughter, that stuff.
Kendo, man. Kendo. All right, Rich, anything else you've been playing, bro?
Oh, no, that's it for right now. That will change, though, soon.
Oh, yes. All right, Carlos, man. You're actually playing games now.
Carl's playing games?
Yeah, man.
Yo, man. Yeah, I've been playing Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned in the past show, it's pretty good. The shooting can get addicting, especially when you keep getting new weapons. The only thing that I have had an issue with was the reload. The ammo. But I talked to Tony and Chris about it, and they're like, "Oh, we just chainsaw people," and I'm like, "Well, my chainsaw doesn't work sometimes. Like it takes a long time to refill." But what I noticed, and I guess it's because I'm stupid, some enemies need 3 bars to chainsaw.
Yeah,
and some enemies take 1.
Yeah. You have to chainsaw the smaller dudes, the zombie-looking dudes, the zombie dudes, the soldier guys, and pretty much anything that's your size, you could chainsaw.
Yes.
But the big dudes, can't do that, unless you weaken them severely. But you notice in each level, there's a lot of those little shitty zombies around, right? What are they there for? They're purely there for you could reload on shit,
Yeah, and what I do, every time I see them, I don't even shoot at them. I just run around, to make sure they all gather together. I shoot the fire at them.
Yeah, man.
And I throw frag grenade.
Who's making all that fucking noise right now, man? I love whenever I call somebody and they never say who it is. It's like in a classroom. Who did that? Every kid gets quiet and shit.
Yo, man,
that was my bad. Sorry.
I wasn't doing shit.
Brett's chilling right now. It wasn't him.
So I upgraded my armor, right? And then I'm like, okay, so I get a lot of armor, but there's sometimes there's not a lot of armor to find. So what I do is every time I get into a new little arena thing, I shoot the fire and so a whole bunch of enemies, and I throw a frag grenade. and it just fucking like it seems like fucking Christmas with all the fucking armor that drops.
That's right, yeah.
You're like, just I just boost through that whole thing. I'm like, I'm not even gonna fight these people. I'm just gonna get my armor.
Nice.
And yo, man, it's cool. The only thing, it's like every time you get a new weapon, it's pretty cool. But I also like invested on upgrades to my weapons, and like I think. Like I don't know, I don't like the upgrades. Like they're cool, but they waste. Like there's what's that called? The assault rifle.
Yeah.
You know, the one that's like immediately to the right on the wheel.
Yeah.
That thing like has a pretty sick ass upgrade, which is like it shoots like little rockets.
Yeah, the little missiles. Yeah.
Yeah, but you use that thing for like 2 seconds and your freaking ammo's gone, man.
Yeah. Chainsaw, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, you have to chainsaw people a lot of times. But yeah, that's pretty cool. The platforming really gets on my nerves. Like at first I was like, it's pretty cool. You just jump from point A to point B, but then like it starts becoming way more like a platformer in some levels. It's like, okay, I need to jump into this part, and then I freaking zoom through I do the double zoom, and then I have to get this pill thing that makes me double zoom again, and then I go through this little handlebar thing. And then I have to go stuck into a wall, and it's like, man. There's one level that really got on my nerves. I died like 5 times. It's like
the lava one.
No, it's not the lava one. The lava one got on my nerves too, though. There's one level when you're trying to get the fucking you're trying to get this dude. I don't know what the hell this dude is. But there's a huge hole with a blue launcher that launches you up in the sky. So you jump and you jump down, and there's like this little space where when you jump you need to like zoom through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. There's a couple instances like that. Yeah.
So you need to time that shit like perfectly. So when you go up the little teleporter and you have to zoom through that hole and go through to the next spot. But yeah, other than that, I mean, the game's pretty fun. It does get a little bit repetitive, but at least the shooting mechanics and the weapons and a lot of the enemies are pretty cool. So yeah, the game's longer than I expected. I thought I was going to be done with this, but apparently I'm like halfway there.
Yeah, it's a long game. Because you do think it's going to be a short game. It's longer than the 2016. It's like 20 hours or so, I believe. Something like that. I don't know, because I've already replayed the game twice. I love the fucking game. I think it's fantastic. I actually really like the platforming, because you guys, I've said this on the show before, I just love platforming games in general, so it's kind of cool to have Doom do that. And it does it well in first person. First person could not get platforming right for years, right? I think we had Mirror's Edge. They did a okay job, but once Dying Light came out and did it right, every other fucking first-person game does platforming correctly. Because Dying Light showed the way. It's like, oh, this is how you do it, you know?
Yeah.
Dying Light still does it better than Doom, though. Let's just be real. Dying Light is fucking beautiful when you're doing a lot of parkour and shit. But when I play
speaking of which, where's the second one?
Yep, shit. Yeah. Yo, by the way, that's another game that's a little weirdly timed. Dying Light is awesome. But yeah, Doom. And the other thing I like replaying the levels and finding all the secrets and shit. I love that because it kind of has like a Metroidvania type of thing going on. Oh yeah. That shit is dope.
Yeah, there's a lot of secrets. Those little safe those floppy disks.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, when you find one, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
they're cheat codes.
Yeah, but I haven't implemented those. I need to replay the game again and try those cheat codes because there's a part of me that's like, yo, Tony, don't use cheats, but the game offers them to you, and I already beat the shit, so I should use them.
And also, like, once you progress to the game, the map tells you exactly where everything is, which is pretty cool. I really like the map system, even though it can get a little bit confusing, just trying to traverse. But like, everything's pretty detailed. Even the secrets, like, there's a secret in your own base.
Yes, there is. There's a lot of secrets in your own base.
The base is huge.
Carlos, I think I know which one you're talking about. You see that one question mark all the way up there? When you're in your base. Like there's like a central area, right? And you look up, you see a question mark. You're like, how the fuck do I get that shit?
Oh, I haven't even seen that one.
All right.
I was talking about the one where it's on the outer edge, like you have to go outside, and it's like there's like there's a costume there.
Yes.
But there's something else to that structure.
Yeah, you need to have something, and you need to be able to answer it, and then other shit. Yeah, that one does, because you kind of have to drop down and do a leap of faith and then dash forward.
Yes. Yes.
Actually, no, excuse me, it's not a leap of faith, it's a drop of faith. Like, okay, I'm gonna drop down now,
And the only reason I found that is because I saw the map. I'm like, why is there a platform in the map here? And like, you can't even get there. I'm like, do you have to go inside? So what I did is I jumped to the left.
Ah, okay.
And that's how I saw it. I'm like, you don't get deducted anything if you die in the base.
Yeah, what I love about that whole batch system, and this, I kind of like those kind of puzzles or whatever in general. It's like, okay, you know where you have to go. The trick is figuring out how the fuck to get there. That's shit I like.
Yeah,
that shit is dope, man. But yeah, when you get again that one question mark, you'll see it. It's like there's a trick to it, which I found out of frustration. I'm like, oh shit, that worked.
It's in the central area. Is it where all the costumes are at and all the like the unlockables?
Okay, you know where you do your mission select and shit?
Yes.
When you turn around and you go forward, you just got to go forward a little bit, and there's going to be like another, there's this one room, I'm trying not to spoil anything.
Reactor.
There's a reactor thing with something in the middle of it, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
When you go around it and you go into the next room, it's a darker room. You look up, it looks like there's a question mark in a ventilation shaft. And if you look above it, you see there's a hole that drops down. And for the longest time, I'm like, how the fuck do I get there? All I'm going to tell you is, look up. There's going to be stained glass windows. One of them's going to have a red bullseye. Shoot it.
Oh, dirt?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I found out, because I'm looking, I'm like, fuck. And I just pull out my shit, like, I'm like, oh, whoa, shit, that
something
did
happened.
something. Oh, Doom is so good, man. When it hits lips, it's so good.
Yeah, Doom is like one of those games where, like, even though it frustrates me a little bit, it's like, man, I want to collect everything.
Yes.
Like, I want to go back to the other levels. Yep.
I'm going to, go ahead, because I'm just going to bring that up later. Doom is the shit.
Yeah, it's, after Doom, like, I want to kind of finish it because I have Final Fantasy and Resident Evil still pending. But here's the thing, I don't know what game to continue. Like, I don't know what game to start. Like, should I start playing Resident Evil 3 because I'll be done with it real quick?
Yeah, you'll crank that out in like 7 hours.
Fast.
Yeah. I think then I guess that's what I'll do. I'll finish that.
Call it it's a palate cleanser, because it's shorter. It is a short palate cleanser because it's short. It's fucking like 7 hours.
Yeah.
It's scary, obviously, but so it's a different kind of, man, I'm having a hard time saying palate cleanser tonight, but it's a nice chaser,
Yeah.
Yeah, what's going on, Subgata? We will be talking about Neo 2 in a little bit. And actually, we already talked about Resident Evil 3, and I will tell you about Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, shit, Mr. Gator.
Mr. Gator, what's going on, brother? All right. Chilling, bro. You already know, man. All right, Chris, what have you been playing lately?
Mostly Resident Evil 3.
Yo, you going to get that platinum?
I got it already.
Oh, damn! Oh, no! Yo! Damn, Chris doesn't fuck around. By the way,
Riku!
Yeah, respect. Yo, by the way, Chris got the platinum in Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2, twice for Resident Evil 2 for you and your girl, your wife now.
He's the Resident Evil guy.
Yeah, and now Resident Evil 3. That's fucking amazing, dude.
Yeah, thanks. But this one was way faster. I mean, it was just straightforward. So, like, the hard one, though, I swear I must have fought Final Nemesis like 30 times on Inferno.
Oh, my God.
It was insane.
Yo.
He moved so fast.
Dude. This is fucking nuts. But yeah, that's pretty great. Yo, Goose, you crazy, bro. Anything else, Chris?
I'm going to go back to Doom Eternal. I just platinum RE today, so
nice.
I'm done with that.
I am finished with you.
Yeah.
That's the Chris. Neo.
Oh yeah, I got to jump on Neo. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, we'll get Brett's thoughts on that in a bit. Subgata says, Riku, did you reserve Senno Kiseki 4?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Man, hell yeah! I fucking pre-ordered that motherfucker. Goddammit! You best believe it.
Yo.
I'm buying one for my nigga too.
Man, did I miss Chris talk about more God of War 2018? No. That's Brian. You're thinking about
Brian.
and Brian is up next. So Brian, man, tell us about God of War 3. You finished it. By the way, Brian finished this game in like 3 fucking days, man. My man went in.
Yeah, I actually didn't know like how just how close I was on Sunday. Like
Yeah.
I was like an hour away from the end. So I was like, oh wow, okay, I could have just finished it like then and there. So yeah, finished it Monday and just going through and clearing out the platinum stuff now. So 100%ing all the places, just going down the list, doing everything. Currently doing the side quest for the dwarves so that they can get their shit done. On the final part, was meant to do some today, but I had work, so unfortunately, work takes precedence these days. I know. But it's bank holiday tomorrow, and then Sunday and Saturday. Yeah, the idea is to try and get the platinum on Sunday. That's like the target date. So I think I can do it. I because it sounds like the main difficult things are just the Valkyries, and
Yeah.
so far they're not anything that I've had to like
Wait.
break.
Just wait.
I've,
Just wait.
I've
They'll
not
owe you.
I've not had to like sit up in the chair yet, so I'm still kind of like, okay, it's not too bad, you know.
Yeah.
But people are saying that it's difficult, so we'll see. Again, maybe, may not be, but we'll see.
So Brian, remember, before you got the game, you were kind of skeptical about it. So, given what you felt about it in the past, what's your like review of it now that you've beaten the game?
It's definitely a really good game. Definitely very well put together. The story is very well thought out. Now that I see where they have gone with some of the elements, I see the foreshadowing that they had in the game, and it's like, oh, okay. Not only for this game, but also for the next games. If you read that deep in the story, then you kind of know what happens in those games. Again, the under the cloth part at the end, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
So hence it's like, okay, so yeah, and then as I was listening to the dialogue, it's like, okay, now things are making sense because then there's like lots of parts that were like not really put together. It's like, okay, cool. Now I understand why they were like that. So yeah, that's good. The combat for me is it's still the biggest thing I have an issue with. The camera is just stupidly way too close. Can't see shit behind you. Can't see shit like slightly to the left of you, and it's a real annoyance. There are some cases where there's just way too many enemies and the camera system just doesn't work. The whole arrow thing at the bottom, it feels very weird. And it's there simply because you can't see what's there. And hence why I think it's a problem. If they didn't have the camera that close, then they wouldn't need that. And I'm getting to the point now where I'm getting tired of all the characters just telling me like, hey, they are behind you. There's someone there. There's someone there. It's like, just shut up. Like I know they're there because I can't see them and I hear them, so they're somewhere there. But it's just like, it's ruining it. So yeah, combat is a bit meh. I really don't like the fact that they made like a pseudo RPG with all the legendary gear and like epic gear and all sorts. It makes no sense considering the guide. According to the guide, everything is predetermined where it is. So what's the point? So it's like they follow the RPG system without having like actual random loot drops, which is really strange and just beyond me. Yeah, I don't like that at all. They should have just stuck with the usual orb stuff because I've been reading about one of the trophies, like the really grindy one, where you need to like unlock all the chests and like grind for the cash. And it's like, so you literally have this other currency in there, so I can grind it for this trophy for other loot. It's like, why are there like 7 types of currencies in this game? Like, stop doing that. It's not fun. Like Warframe does the same thing, and that's not fun. Like having to grind out so many different types of currencies just to get the content is really stupid. Because I got to the point where I unlocked all the all the gold armor stuff, and it's like, okay, cool. Let's see what I need to make it. It's like, oh, I don't have any of the things. It's like, why is that? Oh, because I need to go to this place and get them. It's like, so what's the point? You know, like, why introduce this new set of monetary system just for this other loot? It's like, I don't know. It just irks me. It really does. It's the definition of needlessness. Like, I think they just put it. I think they just put it there just to try and make people play the game longer. And it's like, you don't need that. God of War already gave you reasons to play the game longer. Like, if you unlock skins and like they modify how the game plays, that was enough for most people. Like, stop trying to do that. It makes no sense. Like, I'm still mad that you can't have like weird weird and wonderful skins in this game. I miss the Kratos with the business suits and with the business suit and the suitcases. Give me that. Like,
Business
I don't care
Kratos
about
was the
anything else.
best.
Exactly. Why don't they do that anymore? I don't understand. But apart from that, I love the callbacks. I love the puns. Love all the in jokes that I have in there. So that's still good. Atreus, I don't mind him at all. He's all right. He does
Boy.
have the small quirks. There's that part in the game where you just want to punch him. So yeah, I felt the same way. Yeah, again, it's okay. I don't think it's 10 out of 10. It has some flaws here and there, and no, especially the soundtrack. I really didn't like the soundtrack. I thought it was just really bland.
So
I
Brian,
don't know
you're
why.
saying
It's just so. Again, for a soundtrack that was like, okay, this is God of War. Like they have great soundtracks throughout. But yeah, this was kind of like, who was composing this? Like did, did they did they like sleep for like half the day or something, or like half the
Damn,
time? 'Cause
isn't it Brad
it felt like
McCreary that
something
did
was
that shit?
missing.
I guess you're like me in Final Fantasy IX.
It
Oh,
it just felt missing. Like again, if you compare it to other ones, it's kind of like, okay, cool. Like they have this pedigree, and yet the pedigree was dropped here. It's like, why? How? Like what's going on here? So yeah. So again, all in all, it's a very good game. Definitely not as bad, not as bad as I thought it would be, but definitely not as good as everyone says it is, in my opinion. Like, I need to go and watch some people review it and see if they pick up on the criticisms that I have.
yeah, I guess you could check out some old reviews in that case.
Yeah, and maybe even some spoiler casts.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, re-listen to that shit, man, for real. All right. Anything else you've been playing, or is that it?
Not really been playing anything else. I'm currently playing some Elite Dangerous because space is just amazing. But yeah, apart from that, nothing really. I'll be going back to Halo after God of War. Halo Combat Evolved, to be exact.
That'll be your first time, right?
Technically not the first time. I played the full game like the first half hour by accident because a friend of mine had an Xbox and I just picked it up and I tried it, and then I'd like leave. So technically not, but for all intents and purposes, the first time I'll be paying attention.
Okay, fair enough. Right. Definitely want to hear your thoughts on that. All right. Moving on here, Mr. Brett.
Yes.
Tell
I've
us
been playing Animal
yeah.
Crossing and Neo.
Now we
Cover
gotta hear,
mine.
yeah, we gotta hear about Neo now, bro. And you as a Dark Souls fan, we gotta hear your thoughts on Neo.
Dude, Neo's it's awesome. It's not as fair as Dark Souls. Like I don't think other than from Software, God, that's weird to say, is gonna get the kind of game where you get the hitbox porn of, a gif of somebody like pulling, a swinging sword move that, just happens to leap their character model over an incoming halberd by several inches. And you watch like the halberd like cut the drapery flowing off their costume, but like miss them barely, and they still don't take damage. Like their shit is spot on. It's not as good as that. However, there are a lot of areas that kind of expands on it. So not only do you have several different weapon types, not as many as Dark Souls, but each weapon type has several different stances that range from like its quick close stance to its more mid stance that's for blocking versus its high stance, which is more for attack, and the bottom stance is quick and dodgy. So each one has its own kind of several different approaches, and you can switch between them on the fly. And if you do a perfect kind of jump back into your stance mode at the perfect time after an attack, you'll get some of your stamina back. So it really does reward that kind of Bushido Blade feeling of like, go real slow, attack, dodge back, wait. And attack, dodge. And wait, kill strike. So it does a great job in giving you that kind of samurai feeling. It is Samurai Souls. It's a lot of fun. Just like Dark Souls, though, it is super unintuitive and doesn't tell you how to do fucking anything. Riku actually had to pop in and tell us how to actually play multiplayer. So that was fun. But no, man, it's all in all, it's a tight, solid game with a lot of playability. I'm not sure about replayability. It doesn't have the exact same online element. Like, you can call people in, but I don't know, man. The community isn't there. It's not jolly cooperation. It's let's run through this as fast as possible so I can try and grab some loot on this run through. And the PvP is when somebody dies, you fight their revenant, which is essentially an NPC controlled version of their character at the time, which is fine. But beating the brakes off a revenant does not give you the same thrill as beating the brakes off a human player. It just doesn't, man. I don't know why, and maybe I'm just an asshole, but I know if there's not somebody else on the other side of that controller a little angry that I just won, then my day isn't over. And I think that's go ahead.
No, you're right, Brett. You are being
okay.
awesome.
Okay.
No, I'm just joking.
Hey, man, it can be both. But so all that being said, it's quite a bit of fun. I try not to compare it to Dark Souls. It is very Dark Souls-esque, but if I compare it to Dark Souls, it doesn't quite live up. The bosses are a little bit cheesier. There isn't, there's skill involved, but there's more level involved. So, not quite as good as Dark Souls, but, I mean, what is? And fucking, it's not like the latest From Software game was Dark Souls either. So, this is the closest we're getting. And it's an acceptable substitute for now. From Software, you better fucking bring it on the multiplayer next time. Next game you make. I don't give a shit if it's a fucking Tenchu game. Multiplayer, assholes. Do it.
Yeah, that's your main reason for not caring about Sekiro, right?
I think that's a lot of people's main reason for it. Have you noticed that game has not picked up the traction that their other games have? I mean, it's sold, don't get me wrong, but I think it's sold on From Software's reputation, because even though it's sold numbers, ain't nobody talking about it.
Hey, man.
What are you talking? Our fans specifically talk about the game a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe I'm just running with the wrong crowd then. 'Cause I know people play. They're like, I mean, it was good, but it doesn't seem to have the lasting impact that a Soulsborne game usually does. So, not talking shit by any means, and I'm only comparing this to a Souls game, which is notorious for having a long burn and an active community that is fervent. I don't see that same zealotry over Sekiro.
I agree with that. Think about it like this. Motherfuckers still talking about Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm.
Sekiro definitely has its fans because there's a lot more of them. The best-selling From Software game to date. But, yeah, like, you're right. The passion for it isn't as strong as, like, From Software and Bloodborne specifically in this case. Bloodborne, man, it hit people the right way, man. It really did.
Dude.
It hit me the right way. That's the first, one of their games I played and was serious about it. Because the first game I played from them was Demon Souls. I'm like, fuck this shit. This is stupid, but there was something about Bloodborne. I'm like, yo, this is hard as fuck, but there's something about it, man. Couldn't put this shit down.
Dude, I mean, as much as we kind of joke about people comparing it too much, like, it set a high watermark for gaming. Like, we're going to look back in 10 years and be like, man, remember Bloodborne? Like, that was one of those handfuls of games that you're like, yep, that game changed shit. And honestly, you already see it, and I'm going to sound like a fanboy for a minute, and I'm just going to go ahead and let that happen. I said it when it was happening, but it's amazing the amount that it happens. Like Dark Souls literally changed the way that we play video games as much, if not more, than Halo.
Whoa, hold on. That's a bold statement,
Let's
sir.
settle the fuck
Hold
down
on.
here.
You need to explain that one.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
How many games have modeled themselves after Dark Souls? Almost an entire fucking generation. It's going to continue into the next generation. It has the cultural and lasting impact that hasn't been seen since Halo introduced the DualShock controls.
Oh, here's the thing. You said, this might be semantics. You said Bloodborne. That's what you said first.
Okay.
Then you switched it to Dark Souls.
Soulsborne. The Soulsborne franchise.
See, that could I could roll with you on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, Soulsborne games have definitely had a huge impact. That they have a fucking meme. That tells right there.
Yeah.
You know, it is the Dark Souls of, instead of the ghouls and goblins of, which it should be. You know, or the Battletoads of. You don't hear that. You know, and then you're right. Every game, even the latest Star Wars game, combat very much inspired by the Dark Souls game. God of War. Brian was just talking about that. Very inspired by those games too. You know, you see it everywhere. This is interesting, man. So I'm not saying I fully agree with you, but I'm not disagreeing with you either, because that you could make a strong argument for that. This is, at least for this generation specifically.
Well, this is.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree that maybe the Soulsborne is it has a Halo impact of this generation.
Yeah, for this generation for sure. Even though it really started last generation, right? But this is the generation where it hit big. Like, think about it like this: where Yakuza games have been around forever. When did it really start becoming impactful? This generation, So I think you could make the same argument with Dark Souls. Like, this is a generation where it became a thing, a cultural or a gaming cultural phenomenon for sure. It's everywhere, Oh,
I'm not even talking about how prevalent it has been. I'm talking, or the reception. I'm just talking its impact on gaming in general. Like, show me another game that has affected other games as equally.
Yeah, Halo is one of them. For last gen, Uncharted 2 was one of those games. Every game became Uncharted 2 after that.
Every game already was Uncharted. Uncharted 2 was every game. It was just the pinnacle of that type of game. It wasn't innovative.
No, it wasn't innovative, but it did things. It took what things what people were doing, made them better. But then,
but you can't.
No, but here's the thing. But then every other game started becoming like Uncharted 2.
You can't say something was like a copycat.
No,
I mean, don't get me wrong.
No, but it wasn't a copycat. Uncharted 2 took pieces of other games and compiled them into one. Then other people went, "Hey, look at Uncharted 2. We're going to do that now."
I think Infamous 2 was effective.
I'll name one more recent, Breath of the Wild.
Okay. With the climbing mechanics, you mean?
I'm more coming at it from I'm more coming at it from the huge cinematic spectacle. Like, Uncharted took it to those levels. Even I hate to say this, even Tomb Raider was inspired by fucking Uncharted, which is weird because Uncharted was inspired by Tomb Raider, but it went full circle.
I would say the same thing for Resident Evil 6, Dead Space.
Even the
come on, you guys are giving gibbies. I'm talking about something that introduces a mechanic that has not been seen before, that then becomes a standard of gaming from then until fucking forever. I'm not talking about something that was big and you're talking about the fucking it's the new iPhone and pulled all these little pieces of things that already existed together. Like, nah, man, I ain't talking like that. I'm talking about it's something brought. I'm not talking like, oh, I've never had chicken and waffles together. I'm talking about motherfucker.
Different, yeah. Because
I'm talking about.
Go ahead.
I'm talking about somebody brings in like a fucking like Guinness baked chicken, and someone's like, I've never had anything like this to begin with. Period. Like, that's the kind of shit I'm talking
now we're
about.
gonna have because I don't think the Dark Souls games are doing anything new.
They just do it better than
we know what they are. Those are modern versions of old hard ass games. That it brought that back into the conversation.
Okay. It's more than just being hard. It's the intricate level design. It is the telling the narrative through set pieces. It was the bleed in, bleed out crossover multiplayer. It was all. It was not just.
I could give you the multiplayer for sure. That was pretty innovative. But are you talking about impact or are you talking about innovation? Because those are two different things.
Well, both. You have to be innovative to have impact. You can't. You can
be innovative and not have impact. Eternal Darkness, innovative as fuck. Nobody copied it.
Yeah, but okay.
Yeah.
You can't have impact without being in it. I mean, I guess you can, but that's not what I'm talking.
Yeah, you can't think about Uncharted 2 wasn't all that innovative, but everybody copied the shit.
And that's what I'm saying. Like
Fortnite.
Yeah. Fortnite.
Yo, by the way, let me just mention this though. Dark Souls. I mean, it did change the game, but it also led to a lot of laziness in the video game industry.
Oh no, I completely agree.
A lot of people claim that their game is Dark Souls-esque just because games aren't difficult like as they used to be. So they use that as a standard bearer for people comparing their games to Dark Souls. So in reality, there's a lot of games like that are inspired by Dark Souls, like fucking God of War and stuff like that. But a lot of people throw that term around and throw that influence around way too loosely, and which honestly I think doesn't really have that much credence to actually Dark Souls itself.
Well, yeah, a lot of guys throw that around, and there's a difference between being inspired, like changing the way maybe a camera works or combat to imitate it, or just trying to shallowly rip off Dark Souls, right? Like that's like Lords of the Fallen or The Surge. It doesn't. It's like, hey, we have a 3D game where you hit things and run around. You have a stamina bar, and it's like it's Dark Souls. And it's like, no, that's not Dark Souls. You just took some mechanics, and it's like on the surface it looks like it, but then when you get deeper, well, there is no deeper. It's an inch deep. So
Look at you, Star Wars.
Oh man. Yeah, that's one thing I will say. Like all those games, Neo included, they don't do the Dark Souls thing as good as Dark Souls. It's the fairness. I feel those games like, okay, we're gonna make shit really fucking hard.
You're talking about overall, right?
Yeah, overall, yes. Every time I play the Dark Souls games, I always feel like, okay, I died because I fucked up. That I always feel like, okay, I fucked up. I need to get better. Like when I play Neo, I was like, yeah, this game's just being fucking cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, the balance is too perfect, Yeah. Anyway, so Brett, and Animal Crossing, you already gave us your thoughts on that. That's an interesting mix, by the way. Animal Crossing and then Neo, like super chill game, super brutal fucking game.
Yeah, man, it's both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, no, it works. It works. Yeah.
The funny thing is, like, I've been I don't even know how to put it. I've been playing more games because of Animal Crossing, because there are times I'm like, man, I just do not have the mental wherewithal to try and find or play, or give my full attention to something. So I kind of like half days, just sit there and play Animal Crossing for like an hour or so. Like, specifically like the post-dinner itis is the big one. So I'll sit there and I'll play some Animal Crossing, and then I'll be like, you know what? I'm feeling a little second wind come on. Then I'll pop on, I'll play some Neo, and I'll play Neo until, a couple hours, 2, 3 in the morning. So it's actively encouraged me to game more, just because it's not something that I feel I have to give all of my attention to.
That's pretty interesting.
I mean, it's nice. Like I said, it's nice testing yourself, but at the same time, like, it's nice just chilling. And I think Animal Crossing, people think it's a little bit more simple than it is. Like, man, it really is a designing game. It is. If you like being a creative type, it is a game for you. And there's a lot. That's a big untapped market, man. Like, anybody who's played video games, he knows, like, if I could build a base, I am 120% all over that shit. So you give me the ability to, like, landscape and build a town and all that stuff. Like, yeah, of course I'm on board. Like, cutesy skin or not. And, like, after a while, like, man, it's like Clone Wars. Like, at first it's like, but then, man, it kind of grows on you.
And then it just becomes super epic. That's Clone Wars, by the way. But Clone Wars goes places, man. Holy shit!
Dude, that's what I'm saying. But like when you first watch it, you're just like, ugh. Yeah. What the? I don't know if I can deal with this shit. Like, and it seems like slow paced and weird. But like then you get into it, and honestly, that's a great comparison. Animal Crossing is good in a lot of the same reasons Star Wars is good. Like Star Wars, and I'm gonna try and say this. It's gonna sound weird, but legitimately gets boring as fuck in a good way sometimes. Like where you're just like watch them like go off to a planet and help a little village. You're like, there's no fucking stakes in this. I don't fucking care. And it's that kind of like a warm bath for your brain, man. Like Star Trek is even worse about it. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like somebody drugged my fucking dinner whenever I watch Star Trek. I'm like, dude, what happened? Like, I feel fuzzy and sleepy and just kind of chill. And like, that's cool. That's great. That's awesome. But, you know, it's for the same reason that I know a lot of people like just chilling out to Clone Wars that, you know, Animal Crossing is kind of fun. So if you don't get it, that's the best way I can get people to get it.
All right. And then as for me, I have been playing Final Fantasy VII Remake since Monday. I have about, I want to say 35 hours, like 35 some hours. The game is fucking awesome, man. I love it. By the way, I didn't realize the game was Unreal 4 until I hit a certain spot. I'm like, hey, that looks like Unreal Green. Oh shit, it's Unreal Engine. But basically, so yeah, who's making all that fucking noise right now?
Oh, that was me.
So yeah, so basically the game is, I haven't beaten it yet, by the way. There's still more to go. I'm at the part, and whatever, the game's fucking old. I just met Red 13. You guys play the game, you know who I'm talking about. So that's where I'm at right now, but I still believe there's a couple more hours in this. But it's basically the whole Midgar section just super expanded with a greater focus on, you know, a lot of the character moments, a lot of character interactions, and really making you feel like that world is alive. Like basically when you played the original game, which is still amazing, you kind of had to use a lot of your imagination because of the, you know, the simple graphics and all that. But this one, they show you everything. They go into a lot of detail. I really enjoyed that. And as far as the combat goes, okay, I must be playing this game wrong because this is the hardest Final Fantasy I play. I've used more Phoenix Downs in this game than I have in every single Final Fantasy I've ever played combined. Holy shit.
Well, that's because it's not a Final Fantasy.
You know, it's like, well,
What difficulty are you playing now?
What happened?
What difficulty are you playing now?
Normal.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm getting murdered all the time. Like, I'm just popping Phoenix Downs. But I will admit, I don't use block. I just try to dodge. But dodging doesn't work all the time. And I'm like, I'm not trying to block. I'm just trying to dodge. You know, given a choice, if I block or dodge, I always dodge. But dodging doesn't work all the time. But yeah, so the game is fucking good, man. I'm really enjoying it a lot. Like, it's pretty incredible. Like, again, and I wasn't skeptical about it. I just didn't care for it. Like, you know, there's some people, like, they either fell on both sides of the spectrum. Either they didn't want it, they wanted the original untouched, or they wanted this for 20 years. I didn't give a shit. You know, I was like, okay, I'll play whatever. You know, but when I did play a demo of it a couple weeks ago, literally a month ago, I was like, oh shit, this is dope. You know, it's kind of like Final Fantasy 15's fighting mechanics, but better, smoother, you know. But just like the original game, you could fuck around with your materia and make your custom characters and stuff. Like, you know, I like linking like lightning materia to, like, you know, all materia, so everybody gets fucked up and shit. You could do a lot of these little combinations and stuff, which I'm only just now doing. Before, I used to just pop in materia just randomly. I didn't give a fuck. You know, and then you could also level up each weapon, which is cool. And then let's just say you get a weapon that you don't really like you get a fucking spiked bat. The spiked bat sucks, but it has a cool swinging move that you could use on another, like, great sword or something. So that's really cool, kind of mixing and matching all that other shit, you know. And yeah, the voice acting is really good, solid stuff. You know, like, it's up to Square Enix's quality. Make of that what you will. The graphics are fucking crazy. I'm loving it, man. It's a great game, and I'm glad even though I am slightly rushing because I'm trying to get you guys to review, you know, early. Even though actually you Throwdown guys, you got my review right now before a PC Mag does. But yeah, again, I'm surprised I like it as much as I do because I was perfectly fine with the original. I was perfectly okay with that. But it has inspired me to go back to the original, replay it, you know, just to see how things line up. But as far as I can see, I don't think they really removed anything. All that shit is in the honeybee. All that crazy shit is still in there. You know, it's just more of it, which is really cool. And you, like, again, you really feel how fucked up things are. Like in the beginning, I could say this. After you blow up the Mako reactor, I know they call it Mako in the game, but I'm calling that shit Mako. What? It's in the original.
I know, I'm just kidding.
But when you blow up the reactor, it's like, hey, we blew up the reactor, let's go home. You know, in this one, you kind of feel the impact of, like, oh yeah, you blew up the reactor, just fucked up everybody's neighborhood, and all those people dead on the streets, that's all your fault. So it's kind of cool that the game kind of made you feel that pressure of, like, you know, I guess what a real resistance fighter would feel like is like, yeah, we have to make sacrifices for the greater good. Like, you kind of got a hint of that in the original, but this one really hammers that shit in. The only big difference I see is like the whole Sephiroth stuff is more pronounced. I'm not gonna get into too much spoilers for that, but it's more pronounced in this one than it is in the original one. But things always seem to line up. It's not like Resident Evil 3 where you play it, it's like, oh, they changed that, they changed this, that, the other thing. This one is just expanded on the shit that was already there. They didn't really remove anything. Maybe they did remove some stuff, but I haven't really noticed it. But I think the game's great. And right now, as you guys were talking, my whole Twitter timeline is nothing but Final Fantasy. So I think this one's going to be big, as Square Enix probably predicted it would be. So if you guys have any questions, throw them at me and I'll let you know, because I'm not under embargo anymore. Enrico, I'm looking at you, man.
Honestly, I don't have any questions in regards to the remake, but in regards to Final Fantasy, as like I was saying earlier, originally the game was supposed to be named Fighting Fantasy, but they couldn't go with that. Yeah, they couldn't go with that because there was a board game already out called Fighting Fantasy.
That goes against what I've seen in hundreds of interviews where he's like, yeah, we call it Final Fantasy because it was the final game. Yeah,
and apparently what I read, that was false.
Interesting. Even though it came from Sakaguchi himself. Like, I've seen the man say it himself, unless they fucked up.
Apparently this one says.
Send me that link, bro, because I'm like, okay,
it's been in there for an hour now.
Well, I can't look at it during the show, but I'll do that later. But that's interesting. I'm like, that's the first time I heard of that. Like, that goes against, like, what is it, 25 years of common knowledge, you know? Actually, not 25 years. What the fuck am I talking about? When that game came out in 1987, right? That's, you motherfuckers know math. I don't know math. But anyway, yeah, I think the game is dope. But if you didn't want a Final Fantasy remake, this shit is not going to change your mind, you know, because it is still a modern Square Enix game. And if you don't like those, you probably won't like this game either, you know? Like, if you don't like Final Fantasy 15 and you don't like Kingdom Hearts, you ain't going to like this shit.
Can I ask you, even though you liked it,
yeah,
do you, like, while playing the game, do you feel like you're getting anything out of it?
Yeah, enjoyment.
Okay.
I didn't understand the question. Like, I'm enjoying.
No, it's like you know, like we talked about how Resident Evil 4 doesn't need a remake.
Yeah.
And it's like, while you're playing Final Fantasy VII, it's like, obviously one of the biggest parts of, if not the biggest part of the game, is the story.
Yeah.
But you already know the story. So
yeah, this is a more expanded version of the story. It's like, it's gonna sound really weird. It's like the novelization of the story. You know how, like, when you read that version, they fill in more shit. You know, you get to learn more.
Yeah, like Star Wars.
I've never read novelizations of the movies, of those particular movies. You know, the originals and stuff. I've read the side stuff, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it just feels like they're fleshing out the world, and it's kind of cool. And it's also cool. It's like you could still have both Final Fantasy, the original one and this one. But I still will say, it would be cool if they took the original game and just spruced up those graphics and kept the gameplay intact. That would be fucking cool too. I still want that. You know what I'm saying? But I understand why they did this, because there's still a lot of people that aren't into turn-based games. You know?
But you understand why I asked the question, though, right? Because it's like, you already know the story. You might get an expanded version of it. And the combat is pretty much the standard Final Fantasy combat of the past, 5 years.
Yeah.
So like,
oh, that's all. I guess you could say that I get that out of it, because I really do like that combat, and this one is the most challenging of them all. You know, because in the other ones you didn't have to worry about blocking. You know, not really. So yeah, so I definitely get that. I just like living in that world, and there was other things. I'll ask you guys off air, because I don't want to ruin this, because I'm like, oh, I didn't like. Did they even talk about that in this one? Because it just seems like they're really hammering it home. Like, again, you really feel like you live in that world. And if you're a Final Fantasy like lore nut, you're probably gonna like it just because you see how expanded every single little thing is. You know, like, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be guys that are gonna enjoy it even more than I do. I enjoy it because, like, hey, it's a cool video game. But other guys who are like, I'm talking about guys who have like Cloud tattooed on their fucking arms or something. They're gonna probably, lose their minds and shit. You know. But yeah, I did want to say this is a little bit of an aside, but it's kind of relevant because I played Doom Eternal and I played Resident Evil 3 back to back, right? Both of those games are like perfect examples of like excellent level design. Like they're so deliberate. You know, if you go off the beaten track, you're gonna be rewarded for it, right? So it was weird playing this, going off the beaten track and not finding shit. You know, like things are just there because they look cool. And and then going back, I'm like, oh yeah, a lot of JRPGs do that actually. Like they'll just like level design is not that deliberate. It's just like, okay, what looks cool, that's in the level and that's it. Doesn't matter if there's nothing in that corner. Brett, you know what I'm talking about, you know?
I do.
So it was kind of disappointing. I'm like, hey, what's that over there? I'm like, again, I have Doom Eternal and Resident Evil in my head. I know every time I go off the beaten path, I will be rewarded with something. This one is like, oh, there's nothing here. It's just a cool looking thing that it makes sense for this to be here if this was an actual world, you know, even though game wise it doesn't make any sense. But then of course there's other instances where I go off some weird spot. I'm like, okay, there's nothing going on here. I go off and do the mission, and then I end up back there because a battle happens. You know, kind of weird. But yeah, no, I think the game is a lot of fun, man. That'll probably be Enrico. I know you're gonna get mad at me right now for what I'm gonna say. It's probably gonna be my JRPG of the year.
Oh, dude!
That's good for you, man.
Yeah, Riku's patting me on the head right now and shit. That's good, Tony. That's good. You know, because I ain't trying to think more. And also, because I think this game's gonna be about 40 hours total. Because I'm doing everything by all the side quests. Thank you for respecting my time. I appreciate that. Thank you for respecting my time. But I don't know what happens afterwards. Like I don't know if the game opens up some more. We'll have to see about that, and especially with the narrative. I'm like, can you go back to Midgar? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. But yeah.
So Persona 5R has no chance.
That's a remake. Actually, but this is a remake too. Riku, here's a question: which is more of a remake, this one or Persona 5R?
In my opinion, Persona 5R. To me, Persona Final Fantasy VII Remake. This ain't a remake.
You consider it a brand new game then?
I consider this a reboot.
From
a gameplay standpoint, this is, for me, remake means that you remade the game 1-to-1, even Spyro Crash, they count. This doesn't to me.
Interesting. Okay, you and I have different.
I agree.
I don't give a fuck if it says remake on the game. That ain't no motherfucking remake to me. That's a reboot.
I would agree.
Interesting. Okay, you have a different definition of remake then.
Yeah.
To me, remake is completely redone from the ground up. That's a remake. Like it keeps the same story and characters, obviously same setting, but it has to be complete. Like Resident Evil 2 and 3, those are actual.
But they added
remakes.
stuff. They changed shit.
Yeah, Final Fantasy did that too.
This isn't a 1-to-1, man.
Yeah. Again, for me, I would name it something else.
Spyro.
Hold on, Tony.
Yeah.
Tony, you just said that for it to be a remake, it has to be a 1-to-1. But
I didn't say that. Riku said that.
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, okay.
I didn't say 1-to-1.
Yeah,
Riku said that. I said for it to be a remake, has to be completely scrapped, restarted from the beginning, completely from scratch.
And what's the difference between a remake and a reboot to you?
It's a good question. Never thought about that. Maybe there isn't.
I know what the difference is.
What's the difference? I never thought about that question before. Yeah.
A reboot is a retelling. It's rebooting the same sort of world, but telling a different story of the same world. Like let's say they rebooted Final Fantasy VII, and then they might do a game where Sephiroth is not the enemy in the game, or
but this one is not going to do that.
I don't think it has to be that big of a division.
No. But Brett, to answer your question, because I'm thinking about it now, I guess they're the same thing. Reboot and a remake could be the same thing. Maybe in some instances they're not, but some instances they are. Maybe.
Now look at it this way, Tony. A remake is what we wanted. A reboot is what we got.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah.
For me, this is a reboot in regards to game. If something like DMC, that
Riku, you're cutting out, bro.
Story. I'm sorry, I don't know what to do about that.
Okay.
DMC, reboot in regards to story.
Yes.
This reboot in regards to gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. It is a game. It's a gameplay overhaul.
Yeah, it is.
So if
I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. If any aspect of the game has can be considered a reboot, it's a reboot to me. For it to be a remake to me, everything has to be considered a remake in every aspect. So that's Spyro, that's Crash, that's Shadow of the Colossus, and that's the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Here's the thing: I consider those remakes too, though, even though they are exactly the same.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those are remakes to me because every single thing is 1-to-1. The only thing that has been changed is graphically. It's more refined. And
all right, so Riku,
go ahead.
What do you think about me considering those remakes and Final Fantasy VII and Resident Evil 2 remakes as well? Even though they're different types of remakes.
I would say that's your interpretation, and I won't change your mind on it.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with your interpretation. I'm like, yeah, I think that's a remake, and I also think this is a remake too. You know,
I feel like you should have a difference, definition between remake and reboot. They are separate words for a reason.
Yeah, but but marketing wise, no one's calling these things reboots.
Yeah, they are. They've totally called them remakes and reboots.
Square Enix has called this a reboot.
No, they're calling this a remake, even though it is a reboot.
That's
exactly our problem. They are intentionally using the word remake because that's what people play the bass for. But it's not a remake; it's a reboot, and they're calling it the wrong thing intentionally because nobody wants a fucking reboot. They wanted a goddamn remake, and they want to act like they're appeasing what the fans have been asking for years, but they're not, and that's why it's important.
That's another thing. The word reboot hasn't been handled well. Like majority of things that have reboot behind it, and it's a legit a reboot, hasn't been done well. So that's why I think that's why a lot of things don't even try to put.
Yeah. By the way, Isaac, I disagree. This game's not a sequel. It's a reboot remake. It's not a sequel at all, dude. What are you talking about?
Tomb Raider was a really good reboot.
That's a reboot.
That is a good reboot.
And that wasn't called a remake either because it was completely different. See, that's a reboot because it's completely and utterly different from the other things. You know what I'm saying?
Like I said, I would put that in the same category as DMC. It still has around the same game. But story and character wise, it's different.
Yeah, Isaac, you and I played this different Final Fantasy remakes, man. There's no time travel in this game, bro. What are you talking about? You know,
Tony.
Yes.
You're just going off of story though. Riku's going off of gameplay as well, and like in terms of gameplay, you couldn't be more drastically different from the first one.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you. But see, yeah, I think you're right.
It's not really a
matter of
remake.
focus.
It's not a remake at all because I don't press A to swing in real time in the first one. It is not the same game technically.
I'm looking at it as an overall product because obviously, if we talk about like a movie or something, the only thing you really have to base it on is the story and its characters and how that's handled in comparison to whatever the original was.
Yeah, this was a 3D.
I think you're right, Riku. It's more of a matter of what you focus on. Because and I've said this before on the show. Like when it comes to games, 60% of it for me is the story, characters, and setting, and 40% is the gameplay. So that's not my focus. But I see where you're coming from. You know, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that's where you're coming from, and I understand it. Yeah, because to me, I'm like, okay, yes, the gameplay is different, but it's the same characters doing the same shit in the same sequence. You know?
Yeah, I understand that, and here's what I'm coming. When you think remake, when I think remake, it's because I want exact that I played before, just looking better.
Yeah,
that's what I think. In regards to a remake, if you gave me a game that's not that game, which like I said, I want a remake of this turn-based game, and then you give me this action RPG, to me, I'm like, this isn't the game that I played back in the day. Exactly.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, Riku. I'll have to think more about it because to me, I consider both of those remakes, even though they're completely different. But again, we don't use reboot as a marketing term, so that's something I'll have to think about. Because again, when you think reboots, what do you think about reboots? You think about movies. Those are the only ones that actually use reboot as part of the marketing. You never heard video games say reboots. Tomb Raider is the only one I think said it.
Yeah, the main reason why people don't use the term reboot is because you're admitting that the previous iteration was a failure.
Are you admitting that?
Not really.
A lot of times that's what it means. It's
Mega Man basically creates a new Mega Man. There's Mega Man and Battle Network and Legends. All of those are technically reboots.
Hey, you know what? Actually, Isaac, thank you. That's a good one. You know what this Final Fantasy game is? Actually, same thing with the Resident Evil games, is a reimagining. You can say that. Yeah.
That's another word I've been pop up reimagining. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, reimagining.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's basically that.
That's a
all of them start
reboot.
with-
Yeah, you could say. I'm not saying you can't call it a reboot because that's an apt one too. Here's the way I see it. I'm using comics, but I don't give a fuck. Okay, in the original Spider-Man comics, right? He became Spider-Man. He got his origin story in 15 pages in Amazing Fantasy 15, right? When they rebooted it for Ultimate Spider-Man, you got the same exact story, same beats, 6 issues. That's what Final Fantasy VII Remake is. The same story, just way longer with more shit in it. You know. And you can consider.
You said in comic terms they use the word reboot.
No, they didn't. Comic books don't like to use that term either. You know. But
What
yeah.
they didn't call it anything.
They just call it a different universe. They just called it different universe.
Okay.
You know, because that's exactly what it was. But basically, it still had the same beats. Like Spider-Man, you know, he got bitten by the radioactive spider. He became an asshole. Let a robber go away. Uncle Ben died. All that shit. You know. Although they did add more stuff, like Green Goblin shows up in issue 5. It's like, yo, he didn't meet this guy until like issue 18 in the originals or something, you know. But this one isn't doing anything crazy drastic like that. Like the story, even though they're adding more stuff, it is very faithful to the original. No one's doing anything weird or crazy, you know. There's not anything new, no new elements in there story wise. It's the same basic story, just expanded. I need to think about this one because I never thought about reboots and shit. But again, does it really matter in the end though?
No, it really doesn't.
Well, I disagree with Riku, although I understand where he's coming from. Because
in regards to what?
Oh no, I agree.
I
agree with Riku's assessment 100% of what.
No, I'm trying to say what Carlos disagreed with in regards to my aspect.
So you said that it. I mean, I agree that the story is being remade because it's pretty much the same story.
Yeah,
there might be
the story
stuff.
is definitely a remake. Yeah,
and you're saying that the gameplay is a reboot.
Yes.
But in order for it to be a reboot, it has to be inspired by it. It's like if we're rebooting Ghostbusters, it has to be within the same universe. But I think an action RPG compared to a turn-based RPG is night and day. It's like apples and oranges.
I mean, usually a reboot is night and. Look at DMC to Devil May Cry, or fucking Tomb Raider to.
But Devil May Cry didn't deviate too much. It's like maybe
no, DMC did. The Ninja Theory game that's a reimagining, reboot, remake. All that shit rolled into one.
No, I think the story was rebooted for sure because the story. No, actually, yeah. I think the whole thing. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah,
but as far as Final Fantasy VII and the remake, quote unquote, it's like the gameplay is completely different. Yeah. But I don't see how the original gameplay inspired the new one.
You could say it this way: active time battle system is not fully turn based, and when you look at this game, it kind of uses that same whole active time meter to use your special attacks.
But here's the thing, though.
Inspired.
But no. But Riku, as Carlos just said, that it's the same fighting system they've been using for the last 5 years.
Well, I'm talking about in regards to 7 and 7 Remake. Those are the only two in conversation right now.
Yeah, I know, but you can't say the gameplay mechanics from this remake are inspired by the original one when they weren't. They were inspired by Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3. Yeah,
but I wasn't necessarily agreeing with him in being by the original. That was his interpretation of it.
Oh, okay, I got you.
What did I say? I don't know. I don't know what Riku.
Carlos, you don't know what you said, bro?
No, because Riku was telling his side of the story, but he kind of glitched.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I agree with Tony. This game, I mean, the gameplay, it's not rebooted. The gameplay is already there. It's been there for years. So it's not rebooting anything. It's been booted.
Wait. Because it doesn't matter whether it
is. Final Fantasy VII itself is a franchise on its own.
Yeah, it's Final Fantasy. It's the story it's the story and character of Final Fantasy VII with the modern gameplay of recent Square Enix games.
So the only thing being remade is the story. Like the gameplay is already there. Like the gameplay's already been told.
I mean, a reboot doesn't necessarily mean you're starting something brand new that no one.
Yeah, but they're not rebooting. But they're not rebooting the gameplay because the gameplay is already there.
I mean, you could say the same thing for Tomb Raider. The gameplay was already there from Uncharted.
No, not from Square Enix or Eidos. Who made that game? Eidos.
It was Crystal Dynamics.
Crystal Dynamics.
Didn't we already agree that Tomb Raider took its gameplay mechanics from Uncharted?
No,
it inspired.
I think the overall over-the-top cinematic shit was inspired by Uncharted. The gameplay, if you really think about it, Tomb Raider's gameplay was still the old Tomb Raider gameplay, just in modern day.
I guess.
And Uncharted gameplay was inspired by the Tomb Raider games, But the cinematic shit, go ahead, bro.
Okay, here's what I'm not understanding. Like, words have meaning. They have definitions. We should be going by those definitions. We aren't allowed, nor is anybody allowed, to just say, hey, I think this means this. This means this to me, so that's how I'm going to take it. We aren't special snowflakes on this panel.
Brett,
we've all mentioned about, yo, what's up?
Before you continue, that's the least punk rock thing you ever said in your whole life.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? We all got to be speaking the same fucking language, and I'm sick of people being like, well, to me, safety means this, so I think we should be talking this paradigm. Like, no, motherfuckers, words mean things. You can't just you can't just decide what they mean. And in this instance, reboot is defined as restart or revive process of sequence, especially in a series of movie, television program, that give fresh impetus to. So, in this instance, it is a remake that has a restart or revive, which gives a fresh impetus to in the name of the combat system. So by definition, this is a reboot. I don't know why we're having I don't even know why this is
But no one's disagreeing with that. It's not a reboot.
Well, everybody's sitting here being like, well, to me, a reboot... Yeah, everybody's sitting here like, to me, the difference between a reboot and a restart is this. Like, no.
But I already said a restart and a reboot are the same thing. I said that like 5 minutes ago.
No, they're not, though. That's the thing. By definition, Tony, it's whether or not it has fresh impetus added to it. If you make something and just update the graphics and do a one-for-one, that's a remake. If you add fresh impetus to, aka change or add things to, you are doing a reboot. Thus,
all right, maybe I'm just a fucking idiot because you just said the same shit. They both
are you making it fresh or not? Is this the same thing in a different package, or are you doing something a little, like putting your little spin on? Making it fresh. You're making this. Both. Is this Mexican or is this motherfucking Tex-Mex?
You're doing both. You're making it fresh and you're adding something new. So
okay, both. If you're making it fresh and redoing it, if you're making it fresh at all, if it involves any fresh making, it's a reboot. If it involves no fresh making, it is a remake. That's the difference.
All right, I'm gonna let it go because I don't see the fucking difference. I really don't. It's the same fucking shit.
Is it literally the same thing? Like if I went back and I
I said both of those remake reboot sound. It's the same fucking shit.
If I went back and remade the X-Files, I would have to get the original actors, do a shot-for-shot remake with the same lighting, the exact same script, and just do it in HD. But if I were to go back and be like, hey, I'm going to redo the X-Files, I'm going to cast 2 different people in it, and I'm going to tell a story that's based on the main story but kind of goes some different directions, that's not a remake, that's a reboot. And that's why fans get upset. Fans get upset at reboots. Fans hate reboots because you're fucking with the source material. They don't.
And tell me something.
Hold on, get mad? And Brett, and that's why they don't use reboots for marketing terms.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because they're afraid to upset the market. They're afraid to upset the fan base.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And Brett, have you heard anyone say that they were mad that the fact that turn-based
was gone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally everyone. Just like how you said with the reboots.
All right, let's settle down with it literally.
Oh man. Yeah, but going back though, because I have to be that asshole. In this instance, I still see this game as both a remake and a reboot.
That's a dinner. That's like saying I'm seeing it as dinner and a meal. Yes, it can be one, but it doesn't work the other way. Like a dinner is always a meal, but a meal is not always a dinner.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So yes, like a reboot is always a remake, but a remake is not always a reboot.
I agree.
So that's why, and like fans, a remake is an homage to the original source material. It's a tribute to the fans, and that's why people love it. People fucking hate reboots because they're usually cash grabs that fuck with the original canon.
Yeah. What do you make of all the people that are hyped for the game and playing it right now?
I mean, it's cool. Like you enjoy you. Like it. I'm going to go ahead and guess a lot of you guys are people that didn't play it the first time.
He's talking to the people on Twitter, not you guys.
yeah. Not you guys. Like I'm saying, like I think a lot of people on Twitter that are super hyped for it, like they weren't around or it wasn't formative for them during the original. Like this is not the same game. It may tell the same story, but the strategy isn't there. The planning isn't there. The tightly building your party until they feel like a family because you know down to the nitty-gritty exactly the level of materia and the fucking order that you gave them and everybody so that you know who your base healer is, you know who your backup healer is, you know who've got the second damage, you know it, and you kind of weird. It sounds weird, but you build a relationship with these characters. It doesn't just rush you to the front and be like, hey, here's a character. You think they're cool and awesome. Go ahead and relate. We're moving on. Like, it doesn't work that way. And I can say this on the back of playing Animal Crossing. Like, the whole fucking point of this game, and it hits a lot of people other than me, like, you kind of get weirdly attached to your shit. Like, I had thought about fucking blowing up my island and starting over again, but I was like, man, I don't have time for this. And, like, I could build a cooler cat. Like, I could build cooler shit if my shit were, like, my rivers were in a different place, but, like I don't know, man. Like, I have cool hats, and I've kind of already settled down roots here. Like, you get attached, man. It's the same reason when your favorite guy dies in XCOM, you're like, oh no, oh god, and he's never coming back. Oh god. It's the reason your favorite fucking mage in Final Fantasy Tactics, when he went down, you fucking rage quit, just turned off the mission. You're like, I ain't saving that mission. That shit never happened. I'm fucking walking away because I am not gonna lose the Duke of Pearls to that motherfucker.
Duke of Pearls.
Yeah, dude, you always named him something stupid.
Yeah,
like
I love it.
So here's my big issue, and maybe it's just me. Later, Chris.
All right, later, dude. Yeah, we've been going off for a while tonight, man.
So I'll make it quick. And this might just be my,
Oh, Brett doesn't like that.
I'm talking about my feelings, man.
Yeah. I allow it because people do have their own interpretations of words. Go ahead, bro.
It's like every time I hear reboot, it's like we're redoing something in order for it to to end up as something different. We're remaking Spider-Man, so it can do this. We might not have Doc Ock this time. We might not have Green Goblin. We probably will though, but
that would be the whole add fresh impetus to part.
Yes, but in Final Fantasy VII, and I understand this is only from a story standpoint, we know where it's gonna end. We know the middle.
But the game is more than the story. That's the thing. Like, you guys may only. But that doesn't mean that a pile of.
You're cutting off at like every punchline now.
Oh man, I said you guys may think that the frosting is the best part of the cake, but that doesn't make a fucking pile of frosting a birthday cake.
Oh yeah. It's again different focus.
No, again it's different. Yes, it's different focus on what's important to you, but it doesn't change the fact of what it is. So to you, it may feel more like a remake than a reboot, but that doesn't make it a remake. It makes it still a reboot, and the things that they have changed are not hugely impactful to you.
But again, I'm not disagreeing that this is. I'm not disagreeing with you that it's a reboot. It is a reboot. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I also think it's a remake. It's both. That's the way I see it.
Oh, let me. Can I say something in regards to what Carlos said?
Yeah, because we're going in fucking circles now.
He said no.
Go ahead, Riku.
When he sees reboot as something that I'm just paraphrasing now, didn't get right the first time, or something they feel that they can.
Oh, no.
Go ahead.
From the last statement, I said a reboot is something that they're trying to do so they can get to a different point B from point A. Like, for example, the Spider-Man reboot. It's like the first live action Spider-Man movies were pretty good, 1 through 3. I mean, 3 everyone had issues with, but they had the Green Goblin to Doc Ock to emo Spider-Man and Sandman. But then they rebooted it so they can go from the Amazing Spider-Man to Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Electrode and shit, and then they're remaking it, they're rebooting it again so they can go from whatever, what's the name of that
Holland
flying dude? Yeah, from that guy.
I can still make my point in regards to what you said just there. So you said in regards to them trying to reach a different, let's say, Z point, right? They start at A and they want to get to a different Z point, A to Z, right?
Sure.
For a long time, Square Enix has been saying themselves that they do not want to do turn-based anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, in regards to them trying to sell Final Fantasy VII to as more people, the most people that they possibly can, them changing it from turn-based to action RPG is, changing its A to Z pathway to reach a bigger audience than they previously had when they first released the game. No,
I just don't feel that the game changing the gameplay from turn-based to an already established from their previous installments action RPG.
I really don't think none of that matters.
Why are you guys so insistent that this is the same? Like, why does it matter so much that this is the same game? Why can't you just admit that it's different?
There's nothing new about Final Fantasy.
It is different. No one's arguing that it is different.
Well, there's nothing new about Final Fantasy VII's combat. Like there's the system.
In comparison to Final Fantasy 15, but compared to the old Final Fantasy VII, the game which it's supposed to be based on, yeah, it is different.
But I live in a world where I played Final Fantasy 15. We don't live.
Yeah, but this isn't this. But this isn't Final Fantasy 15 remake. This is Final Fantasy 7.
Final Fantasy is it doesn't matter if it's 7, 3, 5. There's a progression from each one, from 1 all the way to 15, all the way to 13 remake. They all add the new things to their already pre-existing notion, and then there's points where stuff completely changes. 13 changed a lot.
Yeah, man, they totally kept that draw system.
And 14. I was gonna say versus 14 or 13. That turned out to be 15. 15 changed a lot. So it's like, but from 15 to 7 remake, it's not that much of a difference in terms of gameplay. Like they're using the same thing. They're just adding a little bit. They're sprinkling little new things and nuances here and there. But that's
I get that it's the same as 15.
Its core. It's the same.
I get that it's the same as 15. I get that, but again, 15 isn't 7. I don't know how to put it any different than that.
But combat-wise, it is. Like we're talking about remaking stories and remaking combat, or remaking the gameplay. They're remaking the story because it's the same story over and over again, and they're remaking the combat because it's the same for 15.
Then why didn't they really just release it as a DLC pack for Final Fantasy 15?
Because they'll make more money this way.
Okay.
That's not the reason they did that, my guy. You know what?
Yeah, there is. I mean, because it'll be stupid and they wouldn't make that much money if they just did it.
Like I said, they've said that they've been trying to get away from turn-based. That's why 15 isn't turn-based to begin with, and there hasn't been a traditional turn-based Final Fantasy since Final Fantasy X.
It's because look, you guys are locking yourselves in a room where Final Fantasy VII is the only game that exists in this world.
Like I said, Final Fantasy VII has created its own franchise with Dirge of Cerberus and Crisis Core. It's its own thing.
Yes, but they're telling different stories and everything. But the story, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, is a remaking of the Final Fantasy, the original Final Fantasy VII story, and they're remaking the Final Fantasy 15 combat.
I get that, but here's the thing: it's not the same thing because I didn't like Final Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy VII was one of my favorite. Hold on. Final Fantasy VII was one of my favorite games of all time, and I did not like Final Fantasy 15 specifically for the combat. So you can't tell me that it's pretty much the same thing because I fucking hate one, and one is one of my favorite things in the universe.
But they're two completely different games.
That's my point.
Story and combat wise, but Final Fantasy VII is the same story as 7 and has the same combat as 15.
Yes, and the combat from 15 is fucking garbage. I don't.
Okay, then enjoy 7 Remake then.
I can't because they're not making it.
My God, there's a lot of people that think 15's gameplay and 7's gameplay are not the same. It may be refined, but it's not the same.
It's the same combat system.
It's basic, but it's if we're gonna be really fair here, the gameplay in Final Fantasy VII Remake is actually closer to Kingdom Hearts 3 than it is to 15. It's the same in 15 with regards to the way the combat flows and shit, but like menu selection and all that other shit, it's really more closer to Kingdom Hearts 3. And like Carlos said, it's all progression. You can't discount all the games that Square Enix has put out. So I understand why they went down the same route. It's like Resident Evil. The last 3 Resident Evil games have had the same type of gameplay, even though 7 had different combat, camera angles and stuff. They're following a specific, pathway, and unfortunately, they were not going to do a turn-based game. Square Enix already said that, and most fans were not going to buy that, and they want to make a lot of money. If it was up to me, this game would be fucking turn-based. Turn-based is the shit. You tell
me this, Tony. Yeah. If let's say if.
But I'm going to say this though.
Final Fantasy VII, right?
Go ahead. Yeah,
not Final Fantasy VII. Resident Evil 7, with it being first person.
Yeah.
And from what we're hearing, Resident Evil 8 will be first person.
Yeah.
Why wasn't Resident Evil 2 remake and Resident Evil 3 remake first person as well?
That's a good question. I think because this is just my interpretation. I could be wrong. I think because they were just trying to be like Resident Evil 4, which is still the most popular Resident Evil game. I think that's what it is. It's and I don't think they were trying to go with that horror with it either. Like when you're in first person, that shit is fucking scary. I don't think they were trying to go that ham. But that's a good question though. Like, why didn't they do that? Because the thing is, because they're not trying to be like the original ones. The original ones were in third person either. You know what I'm saying? They were like different camera angles and stuff. I don't know what the hell was going on in this conversation, but I enjoyed it.
Throwdown, sure. Baby.
Yeah, I love it, man. I fucking love it. And hey, listen, for you fans out there who are staying home and shit, and I had nothing better to do, we gave you a 3-hour episode, man. So hope you enjoyed it. It was good stuff, man. All right, I don't know if Richard's still awake right now. We might keep him
we killed Richard, man.
Oh man. All right, so we'll be back on Sunday. You already know.
Real quick, Rich is like, this shit is longer than the WrestleCast.
Yeah, right. I love how we started talking about games we've been playing like an hour and a half ago. Like when the show was over. I love it. Throw down, man. All right, so
gosh, Tony,
what's up? Oh, Brian, here we go. Tony.
What's up? I was say if this just carries on, then chances are we'll have to make another show just for that part of the show.
Right? Oh yeah, what games have we been playing? Yeah, that'll air. Jesus Christ, man!
Throw down your games.
Oh God! All right. So thank you for watching and listening. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook at Throwdown Show. Links are located in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco. Tonight is joined by Carlos Romero.
This is
Brian Majoma.
Larry, guys.
Brett Murdoch.
Motherfucker beat me to the punch.
Riku-san one, the only one.
Peace out, people.
And Richard Bailey Jr. Oh, yes. We will see you again soon.
See you later, guys.
Yo, we love you, Rich, man. And again, thank you, Riku and Rich, for being on tonight, man. This is fucking awesome.
Thank you.
All right, yo. We'll see you on Sunday, man. Later.
Peace.
Peace.